after okay, so by the way, like I did notice this too. It was all fist bumps. It was fist bumps. All around. It was fist bumps.
Okay.
Right? So it was like okay. All right, you know what I mean? No bro hug. No,
Yeah.
it's just like
I mean, you gotta.
we're establishing things, I
Yeah,
guess.
yeah,
You know, it's just
yeah.
a bro hug. You do the
Trying to see
one.
what the-
You do the one side. Joint,
Yeah,
you know
but you gotta earn the bro hug. Like that has to be earned.
It had to be the most.
earned,
I couldn't get the. You know what I mean? The,
Yeah,
no.
That has to be earned, man.
No, it was, or even from a distance, we do the pat. You know what I mean? And then there was something you stay away.
I could even give you more context with that. Like my barber and I, like we recently started doing the bro hug, and I've been going to this guy for over a year.
Yeah,
for over a year. We like literally in the last month we started doing like I came with the fist bump and he came with the open hand, and we looked at each other and I was like,
it's
I was like, I didn't know that we. I didn't know we progressed to this part of the
relationship. We made to the next level.
Yeah. I didn't know.
Did you feel violated? You didn't get consent? You didn't give consent?
I was like, what? I was like,
whoa,
ignoring the
Mr.
sign.
Majors, slow down. All right, wait a minute.
I was like, wait. We're going too fast. Going down too fast. But yeah, he gave me an open hand, and I was like, I was receptive to it. I was like, oh, okay, we locked in. We locked in.
You locked in. Darwin,
what are you doing here?
It's challenge day.
All right, welcome back, challengers. This is season 2, episode 4 of Challenge Day. Hope you guys had a good week and a good weekend. I am Jeff, not Jeffrey. That is my brother Darwin, that dude Darwin. And we're coming back here live.
On, folks?
We're not live, but I mean we here though.
Yeah, we showed up.
Yeah, we definitely showed up. And yeah, real quick, of course, check us out on all the platforms, social media platforms that you guys like to frequent. So, obviously we're on IG, Twitter, Instagram, all the different spots. So check us out. We always got content for you to be able to consume and enjoy. And with that being said,
subscribe.
Absolutely, like and subscribe for sure.
Somebody sent me a message the other day telling me about one of the clips we put up, and I'm like, "Did you put it in the fucking comments though?
Yeah,
just go put it in the comments.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like you're sending it to me, just go put it in the comments. So
yeah,
we still gotta get the the audience used to that mechanism. But
yeah, for sure. And obviously there's a little bit of traction, in some places too. There are some folks that even found us on Reddit. So I saw a comment about a Reddit joint. I was like, okay, that's pretty dope. Yeah, I was like, yeah,
it got there.
It got there. So it is what it is.
Yeah.
So we appreciate y'all. But yeah, with that being said, let's go ahead and jump into the show. What you got for me, brother? What's the mass count we got going on?
All right, so keeping up with the count, Gun Violence Archive. As of today, there has been 221 mass shootings in America. So there you go. Another day in America. We've had mass shootings this week. Another week in America. We one thing that I did want to kind of touch on with that last mass shooting. So the perpetrator, this motherfucker had this patch on, right, on his like tactical vest that says RWDS, right? And so what RWDS stands for is Right Wing Death Squad.
Yep.
All right, so right wing. The history of this freaking extremist group is that they was it Pinochet? I think it was Pinochet, right? It might have been a Chilean like dictator or something like that. That like he had dudes. He had like a freaking enforcement force that would like
an extermination squad, pretty much.
Judge, jury, executioner type shit, and then like people who were oppositions to his power or whatever would like dismember them and like fly them over helicopters and just dump their bodies into the sea. Like this is the type of shit that dude was doing. And so this was his death squad, right here. This was his death squad. And so I think I picked up on this shit. white supremacy is quite insidious. There's a lot of like in your face. See, this is part of like some black people are like, yo, I don't mind them wearing the hood. I don't mind them throwing up the Heil Hitler salute or not, because I see them.
So we can see that you
We
can
can see
the
them in
grass.
plain
Yep.
day, and they're
Yep.
not like, you know what I mean, like in the shadows or whatnot, and denying our loan applications or some shit.
Yep.
There's another level to it though, you know what I mean, that is very secretive. That is very dog whistly. They know what they're saying to each other. We see this random guy walking down the street just that says RWDS. You don't realize what that even really means because we're not in that circle, but they know, and they're signaling to each other. So so he'll be across the street and a random dude will give him a head nod just like that he don't even know. But because the dude saw that RWDS on his shit, he was just like, I get you, brother.
You know what it is, yeah.
You know what it is.
Yep.
You know, great replacement theory, all that kind of bullshit, right? But what I was saying is, I think I peeped this hidden language, this hidden side a while ago off of something else. I started noticing a lot of this when I was in Jacksonville, Florida, and I noticed several bumper stickers. And the thing is, like, they speak to each other. Imagine they're not talking to you, but they speak to each other. And so I noticed this bumper sticker and different iterations of it. It might be a window decal, you know what I mean? Different kind, but it would say something like zombie hunter or zombie hunting squad, you know what I mean? Or it would say something like practicing for the zombie apocalypse, and it would just have like an AR-15 silhouette.
Yeah.
Right? And the particular places I be seeing these stickers is on these pickup trucks in Jacksonville, Florida. Quite often.
There's some commonality there.
Now, who's typically driving a pickup truck in Jacksonville, Florida with gun decals on their vehicle? I'm just saying it looks like a pattern to me.
Yep.
That's all I'm saying. So I started thinking like, yo, they have a fucking secret language. Like RWDS, a random ass fucking thing you see somebody think. You would not have, it would have been, somebody could be walking into Starbucks.
I'm looking at the stickers too right now as you're talking about them. Yeah, I'm looking at them online.
See?
Yeah, it's wild. It's wild.
What exactly? Hold on, wait a minute. It's trying to be a little funny zombie hunter. Like, what y'all mean by zombies though? I need to know that part. What y'all mean zombie hunters?
Good question.
Who y'all calling zombies though? Who's a zombie or what's a zombie?
Yeah.
Explain zombie to me in that particular context. And the thing is, they kind of slide under the radar with it because it's like, you know, we've had a bunch of zombie shows, you know, Last of Us. Well, no, Last of Us was not back then, but like we had Walking Dead, you know what I'm saying? You know, and then like there was an offshoot for that. And zombie movies, there was iZombie, you know what I mean? It was a movie. Yeah, so like zombies is there. So it's like you could kind of like, hey, you know, I'm part of the zeitgeist about, you know, we had the Twilight series, you know what I mean, it was the vampire thing, you know what I mean? Then also had like zombie movies would come out, you know, at the same time. Was it not World War Z? What the freaking jumped?
World War Z was a zombie movie.
A zombie. Okay, that was that one.
Was World War Z with Brad Pitt? Yep.
With Brad Pitt, right? Okay, yeah. So that one, you know what I mean? So like there's a lot of
zombies. Even like I Am Legend with Will Smith.
Even Will Smith could be a zombie. So there's a lot of zombie content out there these past 10, 15 years.
America has a weird fixation for like zombie apocalyptic movies. I don't know.
Zombies and vampires.
Weird. You know, yeah. That's right? Weird. I don't know.
There was one article I read a long time ago that that I don't know how much research they had done behind it, but they were talking about how when liberals are in power, there's more vampire movies that come out because vampires kind of represent this like elitist kind of thing. You know, vampires are like polished and stuff and fancy, you know, and so these Democrats are all fancy. So it's kind of like the boogeyman are the Democrats there, right? And then when there's like Republicans in party, when Republicans are in power, there are more zombie movies and zombie content there's out because they're saying how like, oh, the Republicans all just like are sheep, you know, they just go along, they just follow the leader kind of thing, just like zombies are brainless. They just, you know, they're just hungry for consumption, and that's it. They don't care about anything else. They don't have a thought about anything else in the surrounding in their area. They just want to consume and eat and just be like, you know, all consumption, like capitalism. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's all they care about. And so there's this theory out there that's been floating around about all that. But
That's interesting.
but to get back to the point,
Yeah.
I'd be wondering what are the signals that I'm like not hip to.
Probably missing, yeah.
These people probably I mean, the MAGA hat, clearly. I know where you at.
Yeah, that's
I
obvious.
know
Yeah,
where you
that's
at.
obvious. Yeah.
You know what I mean? You come up into like a regular and I'm like, I'm not coming to your spot. Like, remember we talked about me going to the freaking goddamn the woods last time. You know what I mean? It's one thing I see a MAGA hat there. I'm like, okay, I expect that. But if I'm in like the regular neighborhood, regular grocery store around the way, and you chose to rock that bit in 2023 right now, I know where you at. I know where you at.
That gives me fraternity vibes, like with the zombie stick you're talking about, like a secret order or some kind
secret
of like
order kind of
fraternal order.
And I'm not trying to be a conspiracy theorist kind of thing, but like they are finding ways. They are, you know what I mean? They told us explicitly before, like, yo, we need to find a way to promote white supremacy with a more palatable delivery. This is why they started wearing freaking slacks and polos tucked in, you know, and they all kind of look like a little bit of a uniform. They look together. They're a lot. When they did the march in Charlottesville,
You're saying that's where that kind of business casual attire stemmed from?
For them, yeah, they want to be able to blend in to regular society. So that
okay, I got you. I was thinking about it a different way. Okay, I got you though. I understand what you're saying. Yeah.
They don't want to do all that scary tactical military kind of stuff.
Yeah,
a lot
hard
of them
look
now,
and all that. Yeah,
hard look and all kinds, you know, wearing the hood, you know what I mean, or rocking Confederate flags and stuff like that. Like, no,
but now they're in spaces where it's okay. I got you.
So they forget the tattoos, forget all the freaking garb of white supremacy. We rock around in like a regular Best Buy polo,
clean cut, clean shaven.
You just drive a Jeep Cherokee.
Yeah,
you don't no pickup truck like kind of thing. So they blend it, and so they've used that to ways to like infiltrate corporate America, infiltrate government, and become freaking campaign advisors and shit. Like they've been on this planet for a while, you know. So just like sometimes even just looking at a white man with the shirt tucked in and wearing khaki pants, I would just be like, what are you saying? You know what I mean? Like, what's your outfit saying? You know, your outfit might be saying something. You know, and you know, keep my head on a swivel. But there'd be some stuff I'd be wondering if I'd be missing. It gotta be. They got a whole nother secret. I mean, we have African American vernacular English. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? We talk about some stuff sometimes that it might be interesting. We say something is cold, and we say that same thing might be fire.
Yeah,
they gonna be like twisted, topsy and turvy. Don't know what the fuck we talking about. You know what I'm saying? But it's like,
that's true.
You know, it's lit. If it's lit, it's lit. Yeah. And like, what the fuck? You know, so whatever that may be, you know, and so what's to say that they don't got their own little freaking hidden languages going on? But I think it's I'm hip to the fucking zombie shit. At least I think I am. Nobody's confirmed it, but I'm hip to that zombie shit.
It could be absolutely
I'm hip to the RWDS shit. No, I'm also hip to the fucking don't tread on me. Don't tread on me.
Oh yeah.
License plates. I know what you want.
Yeah. I see that. I know what you want.
Don't tread on me. You trying to say something?
That's more obvious though.
Yeah, clearly, you know, the Confederate flag is obvious. The MAGA hat. These things are obvious. But like, there's these other touchstones that they have that they understand what's going on. But we don't. It took a while for us to pick up on the fucking Pepe the Frog bullshit that was on Twitter, and turns out that was freaking really some like a way of channeling some white supremacist things. So they kind of like used the little frog thing in the logo, and like they could find each other kind of thing. So you know, not the logo, but like in their screen names and stuff like that. Yeah. And they could kind of find each other. So But what I want to tie this into though is the fact that okay, so this mass shooting, just happened. I mean, they're always happening, right? But this particular one happened in Texas, and
Talking about the one at the Dallas area mall.
right, the Dallas Mall, and so
It was an outlet mall, by the way.
it was outlet mall. So it's just a quick
Easy
roundup
access.
of what happened here is that so the gunman stepped out of a silver sedan on Saturday afternoon and started shooting people. The cars and glass storefronts in the rain of bullets from an AR-15 style rifle. One of 8 legally purchased firearms the authorities said he brought to the mall with him, right?
Bro stepped out the car dumping.
With-
That's crazy.
Dumping with 8 on him,
Yeah.
right? The meaning behind the far right symbol. So the related coverage, we were talking about the meaning behind the far right symbol that that killed 8 people. The officer who ended up killing the mall attacker, he's hailed as a hero now because he was just like, I think he was there for some other reason.
Yeah, he was off duty or something like that, wasn't he?
Yeah, I don't remember exactly, but the Texas Mall victims include several members from 2 families. There was one family that has, it's just a little boy. I think he's like 8 years old. He's left. He's the only one left. This whole family.
Terrible.
He don't even fully comprehend what the fuck is going on.
He don't know. Yeah, he don't know what. Yeah.
And like all of them is just gone. And there's a stalled gun bill that advances in Texas after the mass shooting, but the gun bill is not projected to pass the Senate in Texas. That is, we've had a lot of Texas has had a lot of mass shootings, but Texas has also allowed a lot of just free willing guns, all over that fucking state. And Greg Abbott, you know what I mean? Those, I think it was after Uvalde.
Yeah.
Or one of those mass shootings that happened.
Yeah, it was after Uvalde.
Right, where this dude just goes right to the NRA fucking convention.
Yeah.
And he's talking right after this mass shooting just happened at your fucking your fucking speak. We know one thing. We know this, and this has been repeated breathlessly everywhere that's ever spoken about the mass shootings in America. Every country, every society has mental illness.
Yes.
If you're human and you're in a society, you are involved in a society that has people with mental illness.
Yeah, there's gonna be a population.
But the level of mass shootings that happen in America is only happens in America, and that's because of the prevalence of guns. And we have the lack of laws and the most lax protocols when it comes to people having guns in America. The Second Amendment is a problem, not in and of itself, but because of interpretations, right, that have been done. I've talked about this before. Regulated militia, it's in there, separated by a fucking comma, right? Like, the commas mean something different back then, you know what I mean, versus now, whatever. And again, for the record, I'm pro 2A, but 2A is not unlimited, right?
Yeah.
So one of the things that they've been at least trying, and this is on the right, not trying, but like talking about, is mental health. Mental health. And so I'm actually gonna take us. I'm gonna throw a curveball here.
Okay.
And completely get off the topic of these mass shootings and pose this. Let's try to unpack this a little bit. Is there, so I don't believe in supernatural, right? So for lack of a better term, can a nigga just be evil? Maybe a nigga's just evil. What does that mean? Does that mean that if he's evil, that we diagnose that as a mental health condition? No. I don't agree with that. I think that there could be like people with mental health issues. You know, we all have some level, and it's a spectrum.
Mhm.
Some is more debilitating than others. Some are more actionable than others. Some of them affect society more than others.
Yeah.
But the type of mental health that we say is a problem that people should be aware of and watch out for and be on the lookout for when it happens was like, okay, this person needs specific help. Let me call somebody, kind of thing, right? Like that crises, you know what I mean? Mental health crises and stuff. Yeah, there's a specific time and place for how we handle those things.
Yeah.
But
so I do want to kind of make a point here. I guess just from my perspective. I mean, unlike you, obviously, I do believe in the supernatural. And I do believe that there are demonic influences that plague American society.
You can't legislate
here.
demons.
However, yeah, but that's what I'm trying. I'm trying to lay out my response. Again, I do believe that that's the case. However, it doesn't take away. We have to look at this holistically, right? Because mental health can be something that's predicated from all kinds of different things. For example, if a woman is pregnant and she smokes and drinks while she's pregnant, that could cause all kinds of defects to a baby, right? If a person has traumatic events that they've experienced growing up, that can cause all kinds of problems when it comes to mental stability and having a solid mental condition. There are obviously external factors, but also like immediate factors as far as like maybe your environment, your immediate upbringing, as far as like your home or the lack thereof, as far as like parents and siblings or whatever.
Or at least just being homeless.
Yeah, or being homeless. Like all these things can affect a person's mental condition that could lead to these kinds of things, right? One of the things that we see like in Black communities specifically, that's like kind of like a school to prison pipeline is like a lot of times a lack of fathers in the homes. And other times it could be a lack of just things to do in the community. Like
so even then, but even then, you say poor decision making is what it results. But is that necessarily mental health condition?
No, so I'm not saying that in particular. I'm just giving you like small things that can add up that could lead to making poor decisions in the future, right? Because I always say this: the life is a sum of decisions that you make, right? But at the same time, your decision making can operate. You can be operating from a framework that's toxic, or from a framework that's just like
limited,
ignorant, that's limited. You know what I'm saying? Like, so like your decision making, though, at the end of the day, can be formed in one way or another, can be informed in one way or another, whether that's from good sources or from bad sources, right? So like, as far as this mental health thing, I do think that a lot of it does stem from like, I mean, obviously these people, they go out and they decide.
This nigga was a white supremacist,
but it's
white supremacy,
and that's what I'm saying. Like, look, that's the source, right, of his decision making. At the end of the day, it's like he got that rhetoric from this particular source, and it led to these decisions.
Okay,
right? But not knowing he's being poisoned in his thinking.
Is white supremacy or supremacy in any form or fashion a mental illness?
It's not. I wouldn't. Is it a mental illness?
It's hard. White supremacy a mental illness?
Is it a mental illness? See, that's kind of difficult to answer, because like in my perspective, I think it's an illness. That's because that means that there's some kind of deficiency in your mind, right? If it's an illness or in your body or whatever, like that's an illness denotes like some kind of deficiency, right? Or some kind of attack on whether that's your immune system, cardiovascular, whatever that might be, right? But white supremacy is something that's ingested, it's taught, it's received. It's not something that you can just catch by eating a bad strawberry.
But that's fine. But how about the precursor to being able to absorb that, to become influenced like that? Is there a mental deficiency in that individual that will allow that void be filled in so easily and being able to commit to that.
Let me answer it this way. Would you say there was a mental deficiency in the mind of Napoleon Bonaparte or of Genghis Khan
Or Hitler.
or of all these people who were conquerors? Was it a mental deficiency or
But it's
was
not-
it the
but, okay,
desire
so-
to conquer?
So here's
right?
okay. Wait,
And-
I'm gonna
and
have to stop you there.
I'm
I'm gonna have to
making
stop you. I can't go down there with you because it's a little bit of a pivot out of where the realm that we're at. Because
No,
we're not talking
I was
about
gonna make a
conquer. We're
connection.
talking about supremacy.
Yes, so I was going to make a connection between that and supremacy. So the
Okay.
reason why I mentioned that is because supremacy, at least from my opinion, I believe is derived from having that mindset of being this elite group, being elitist. A conqueror is someone who wants to conquer.
Okay.
The majority wants to stay the majority until
Okay,
they can remain
so-
in power, right? So that's
So
the
it's by
connection I was making.
it just depends on how you identify your in group as in terms of being
Exactly.
supremacists.
And I think
Um,
supremacists identify themselves as such. They want to remain in power and they want to continue to control and
But
conquer
I
whatever
think
territory
I
they're part of.
think about the whole conquering part though being an entirely different endeavor than necessarily who you think should be eliminated. Because even things like because we're conquerors, right?
Mhm.
They will accept you into their fold if you just bend the knee. Just bend the knee.
Yes.
And next you know
Yes.
you're a Viking. And
Yes.
you're an equal. You're an equal Viking
Yes.
with them now. Or you're an equal crusader with them now. You know what I mean?
Annexation has been happening since the dawn
Right.
of time.
And
We know
so
that. Yeah.
so that's not necessarily supremacy. That's that's just
Is
like
it? Is it? That's a little. That might be supremacy, man.
but
like,
if they there's nothing that Jews can do to get accepted into the fold of the Third Reich.
that's fair. That's fair.
There's nothing that they could do.
That's fair. That's
They could even convert. Even if they wanted to
Mm.
convert or denounce Judaism, they still would not be ever accepted in the Third Reich.
that's a little different though, because that's ethnic cleansing.
There's
That's
no
not-
black people are not being accepted into the Ku Klux Klan. Despite
Okay.
what
That's fair.
Chappelle told y'all.
That's fair.
Despite what Dave Chappelle told y'all, you're not going
That's a
to
good point. I'll give you
become
that one.
a
give you
grand
that one.
master or
Mhm.
grand wizard, whatever the fuck Dungeon and
Mhm.
Dragon shit they call themselves over there,
Mhm.
of the Ku Klux Klan.
Mhm.
So the supremacy, regardless if they make some sort of allyship
Mhm.
or they decide to use you as a pawn,
Mhm.
that's different. But in terms of like accepting you and not having the identity of being supremacist over you,
Mhm.
that's a little bit different from conqueror. So like when a conqueror may not have supremacist tendencies because of who the other group is. It's just like we want to conquer the other group and make them us, right? And make a part of us. And guess what? Now we have black Vikings now. You know what I mean? But they're Vikings. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
That's what they care. So okay, there is this bill in 2019 in the Senate, right? United States Senate, right? And it was proposed to, I don't know what ended up happening with this thing, right? It was Senate Bill 894, right? It was proposed to authorize dedicated domestic terrorism offices within the Department of Homeland Security, the Department of Justice, and the Federal Bureau of Investigation to analyze and monitor domestic terrorist activity and require the federal government to take steps to prevent domestic terrorism. The findings, right? So this act may be cited as Domestic Terrorism Prevention Act of 2019. So go look it up yourself and read it, right? So the Congress's findings, right? Because they have to do their investigations before they propose a bill, right? Number one, white supremacists and other far right-wing extremists are the most significant domestic terrorism threat facing the United States.
Yeah.
Stop. Right? Stop. Right there. And mind you, this is during the Trump administration. So during the Trump administration, there's a lot of rise in all this stuff. Right? And a lot of these people,
they've existed for a while though.
They've been existing for a while, but there's a rise in terms of like the visibility.
Yeah, sure.
Right?
Sure.
So a lot of these people now are in court. A lot of them are facing time. Somebody just got 20 years, I think, for one of the being a plotter in this thing of the January 6th thing. And some of their defense was like, "Oh, we did it because this dude told us to do it." They said Trump did. They said Trump told us to do it. We were just following his order. He said, Proud Boys, stand back and stand by. He said that at the debate. And so they did that. They stood by, and they took matters into their own hands come January 6th. So that question is though, like, by them allowing themselves to be so riled up in order to, well, there's a whole chain of connection of how Trump is a white supremacist himself that we don't have time to go into right now. But if you'll go with me there, for them to allow that this person leads them down to the track where they're to the point where they're trying to overturn the election in all of their policies that they're implementing down to the state level, is suppressing votes of black people, is to take away black history from schools, take away black books, diminish black influence. So it's a supremacist, it's a white supremacist worldview. Is there some point where if we're really allowing the whole mental health excuse to be bantied about and to be wielded by every which person to where white supremacy can be blamed on a mental health issue? So the guy that shot up this mall, is there a little bit of culpability that we can take away from him and be like, it's not completely his fault. He had a mental health issue. Whenever we bring up fucking mental health in these conversations, it's what it feels like. That's kind of what we're saying.
It's out of convenience. I'll be honest. It's definitely. I mean, you know me. I'm gonna keep it real regardless. Like, it's definitely out of convenience. Like, that's a fact.
Maybe now, these niggas is just evil.
But it's which is why I say their
faculties are perfectly. Their faculties are perfectly fine. They will pass a test like freaking Trump woman, man, camera, TV. You know what I mean? A fucking cognitive disorder test. You know what I mean? And they've never had treatment or diagnosed or been seen or recommended for mental health in their past. But they do this violent act, zero criminal record. They do this act. They've been collecting guns so they can get the guns because they have no criminal record or nothing. They did the background check when they needed it, but guess what? They've been collecting. And then they fucking do some crazy shit.
Yeah.
Right?
That tells me more about.
And then we say, oh, mental health.
Though. Yeah, the mental health thing is crazy.
What the fuck?
Yeah. With that, that's just a Trumpian talking point. It's so crazy. But what that tells me is that there has to be some consistency with the personality traits of these individuals who've committed these same atrocities. Right, which we'll actually get into a little later about personality traits. But for a person who is, like you mentioned, has zero record, is clean, but to start ingesting rhetoric that will essentially incite them to like these type of violent acts, which is why there's like this whole thing on like incel culture. Like the FBI is actually investigating incel culture. That's what that whole thing is about as well. Because a lot of those guys, they be at the crib not doing much or anything, which allows probably, I'm not sure, sometimes sometimes they'll try to make a connection with like gamers and all that stuff like that.
I mean, the freaking guy who just leaked all those secrets. You know what I mean? He was just freaking like some gaming chat. You know what I mean? Because he's freaking incels who's trying to impress his incel friends.
Yeah. So, and that's all he was really doing. And I realized he was leaking all kinds of crazy information. But yeah, I mean that's a whole reason why the FBI is even investigating like incel culture as well. So, it is a strange phenomenon that I can see why you would purport as like, is there like, can this be tied to some kind of illness that could essentially give them like a defense, right?
Is extreme racism a mental illness? So this is from the National Library of Medicine, Western Journal of Medicine. This was published in 2002. It can be a delusional symptom of psychotic disorders. So a symptom. Psychotic disorder. So that's kind of what the synopsis there. But they start off by saying the American Psychiatric Association has never officially recognized extreme racism as opposed to ordinary prejudice as a mental health problem, although the
Mm-hmm.
issue was raised more than 30 years ago. After several racist killings in the civil rights era, a group of black psychiatrists sought to have extreme bigotry classified as a mental disorder. Y'all
Mm-hmm.
niggas doing the devil's work there. The association's officials rejected the recommendation, arguing that because so many Americans are racist, even extreme racism in this country is normative, a cultural problem rather than an indication of uh, psychopathology.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Um, So no, niggas, you don't get no excuses. I would try to
Yeah.
be could be classified as a mental health and start and like I could see why black people would, if you're a psychiatrist, be like, maybe these white people just have a mental health problem. You want to try to
It's
make
something
it
to investigate
you
for
want to
sure.
try to
Yeah.
like um give it some foundation or something. It's like,
Mhm,
why y'all
mhm.
hate niggas so much? Just like, you know, like why y'all hate? You know what I mean? Just like being racist. Why is there's gotta be something that's not wired exactly in your brain. I mean, but like there's other white people that are not like that though. So like what the
Yes.
fuck is going on
Mhm,
with you specifically? So maybe it's a mental health issue.
mhm.
But nah, them niggas is just racist.
Yeah,
Simple. And they're perfect, their faculties are perfectly fine.
pretty much.
You know, it's whether it's nature or nurture, a lot of times it's nurture.
Mhm,
Because they grew up that way. They
mhm.
grew up excluded from people of color. They grew up in places that were not diverse. And the other has always been villainized. So if it's through learned experiences and it's a learned behavior, that's not mental illness.
It's not.
No, that's
Yeah.
not considered
If it's
mental illness.
ingested,
It
it's
should
not.
not be
Mhm,
mental illness.
mhm. Yeah, sure.
Is that I can't stand it when they even bring up mental health
Yeah, because it's disingenuous.
because some people actually have a
Yeah,
lot of people actually a lot of people
I actually have
have like
legitimate
some
mental health issues.
debilitating,
Yeah.
you know what I mean, life altering kind of situations
Mhm.
with mental health,
I
you
know people
know,
personally.
and they have to take medication. Some of them,
Mhm,
you know what I mean, some are in treatment. You
mhm.
know, some of them are under supervision. Millions of these people have never hurt a fly.
Yeah.
So to equate them in the same breath or in the same
Mhm,
sentence as a
mhm,
mass shooter and saying that the mass shooter has mental health issues just because they performed an act of a mass shooting.
mhm,
They've never had a criminal record before. They've never had been institutionalized before. They've never been
mhm,
diagnosed with any fucking mental health condition before. But
mhm,
because they did mass shooting, we're gonna say that this person has mental health issues.
mhm.
So we're saying if you do this, it's because you have mental health issues. This is what we're saying. And so when we think about people with mental health issues, we could see them as potential mass shooters. So let's do something
Yeah.
about them.
Just lump them all
That's
into that
that's
same
slope. That's
same
a
same pile.
fucking fucked up
Yeah.
combination set because
Yeah.
these people did something. Because the thing is, the thing that they did, shoot up a school like in Sandy Hook,
Mhm,
kids like babies,
mhm.
a lot of them, and for you to do that, you have to be like, yo, this person isn't right in the head.
Mhm.
This person must be his brain. It's just all kinds of warped and just his the neurons ain't firing all in the right places. Or maybe
So
he got dropped as a kid.
yeah, yeah. So let me actually kind of give you a little bit of insight on. There was a paper that I wrote when I was during my master's program where it was on radicalization. And this is literally what we're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
In this where it's like they're using the term mental health, but it's really radicalization. That's what's actually happening with these people who commit
Like
these
how so?
atrocities. So this is one of the things. I mean, it's a paper I wrote like 11 years ago. But one of the things I remember in it that I was arguing was one of the points I was arguing was opportunity, opportunity and timing, right? To be radicalized. One of the things that dramatically increases the chances of being radicalized is if you're in a place in your life where it's either like you're depressed or you're in some form of despair or lack of clarity of who you are as a person, what do you want to do with your life, these type of things, where it's like it's just a confusing place that you find a lot of like young men in particular. And I think the ages that I was seeing like between like 16 and 18 or something like that. This is a paper I wrote like 11 years ago. It was two things. It was one of those two things were like was like a glaring thing, where a lot of kids that ended up like leaving their flight, they one-way ticket, they'll buy a one-way ticket from their house from where they live in their parents' home or whatever to join ISIS or to join Al Qaeda.
So
to join these groups.
So here's the thing: is like when you
I just wanted to close out real quick. And timing and opportunity. And they'll end up joining like a lot of these chat groups where they'll express how they feel. And it'll be like a lot of back and forth talk, brainstorming. And you have some people who are actually agents of some of these like extremist groups that will be in those chats and will purposely
to pick
pitch
up
these
on
rhetorics
those little
because they're ripe for the picking. Exactly.
Yeah.
Because these kids are ripe for the picking because they're in a vulnerable place. And a lot of them get radicalized that way. Two things: timing and opportunity. So that's what I would.
Okay, so what I'm wondering though is how we then make sense of them falling, like taking a step back, like one more step removed. Like, yeah, they're convinced for this thing, right? They could be like, what is the precursor to their brain being set up in a particular way? Because I wouldn't be convinced. You know what I mean? You ain't gonna convince me to go freaking round up motherfuckers to put them in gas chambers and shit.
Yeah.
You know, you ain't gonna convince me to freaking go storm the Capitol. You know, so it's like, is there something going on with these people who are able to be influenced in such a way, and to say that, okay, maybe there's this mental health condition that's latent, for example, right? But again, doing all that takes away from a little bit from the culpability.
Yeah.
It takes it away a little bit.
Yeah.
And be like, they couldn't help it.
It does.
It's not their fault. Not completely.
Because in a court of law, it's a defense. It's a reliable defense.
But even outside of the defense, we're doing this in terms of a freaking like analysis of the situation.
Yeah,
people that are mourning this, you know what I mean, are on screen talking about, you know, this person wasn't right in their head. And all kinds of, well, can a person be right in the head, but just be evil? And
still decide to,
just be evil. Just make that decision and just to kill people. And not even evil. You know what it is? It's the term is called, it's called antisocial. So there's the term, so when you do things that promote the society, you call that pro-social, right? And when you do these things that are like against the cohesion of society, the embedment of society, you know, the advancement of society, we call those antisocial, right? And so if you want to take away the supernatural part of it and just use those kind of terms, which I would prefer, whatever it is, it's anti to society. You know what I mean? And we can call that something else. It doesn't have to be mental health. You know, some people are just antisocial. Some people do antisocial behaviors.
Which is why I mentioned personality traits before. Because I think a lot of it stems from.
So you wanted to talk about that. What were you going to say about that with the personality traits and mental illness and ideology?
Yeah, so I thought this was a perfect kind of article to kind of look into. I've heard about this before some time ago, actually, as far as like depending on the side of the political aisle you are on, it's representative of your personality traits, but also it lends to directly like your mental stress, right? Your mental stress level. If you're either handling it well or not, or if you're more inclined to be more stressed out than not, right? Depending on what side of the aisle you on. So this article is not like a recent article, but it's not like that old. It's like, I think it came out May 2021 or something like that. The conclusion of the matter is this, that typically when people fall into a type of political ideology or category, as far as like if you're Democrat, conservative, libertarian, whatever, it is largely based on personality traits. Now, there's been data that has shown that people who are extremely liberal are more likely to have mental health issues, right? Because they're overly concerned about what happens with the economy and socially and things of that nature. They're more overly concerned about it. And because conservatives are more conscientious, because, you know, conservatives typically look at things from the existential perspective a lot of times, obviously as like believers, religious or whatever, they tend to be a bit happier, right? Or a bit like more content. So like they don't come off as folks who are who may be suffering from some kind of like mental health condition or whatever. They don't seem as likely to have like as much stress as a person who's like extremely liberal, right? But what the author, I mean, and it's funny because there's studies to like kind of actually show a lot of these things. I have like a bunch of different sources here, but I just kind of wanted to give a quick synopsis of it since we're kind of trying to get through the show here. But basically, the author was just like, he was like, ultimately, honestly, at the end of the day, this is the conclusion that he came to. He was like, at the end of the day, one study using data from 3 nationally representative data sets found that neuroticism, which is like just this proclivity to like negative emotions and negative emotionality, that was more strongly related to, because he was also saying that neuroticism is more than likely, based on the studies have shown that people who are more extremely liberal tend to be higher on the neuroticism scale, right? But he was saying that it was mostly pretty much found that neuroticism was more strongly related to economic than social liberalism, right? So it had more to do with the economics of like whatever society you're part of, and as far as what triggers like the neuroticism. And he said that is people who were higher in neuroticism tended to hold left liberal positions on economic issues such as higher taxes, government funding for healthcare, more strongly than they did on social issues such as abortion and gay rights. Similarly, people high in conscientiousness tended to hold more conservative views, which I just mentioned, on both economic and social issues, although more so for the former kinds of issues. So basically, these relationships held even when controlling for respondents' religious tenets. This suggests that personality traits were substantially related to ideology, regardless of religiosity. So really, he's basically saying, like, he just kind of gave a couple things there, but he's basically concluding that it regardless of your faith or not, it really just depends on your personality. that depends, and your personality traits that really depend on like what side of the aisle you end up on. Now, some of those things can obviously contribute to that, right?
Man, this nigga. Okay, so what's this dude name?
But I wanted to say this. I'm not saying that this is not like a peer-reviewed article. Like, this is obviously like a blog, right? Like,
bruh, this nigga Scott McGrill
but
it's on some bullshit.
Which is why I was actually coming to that, right? Because I was like, it's funny that. And you beat me to it because I was gonna get to the author, right? I was gonna get to him, and I was like, it's funny that it's coming from this kind of person, right? Right. So even though he cited sources, it's kind of like he took parts.
The nigga cited sources that specifically were already in
support of his view. Exactly.
It's not like it was some like.
So it was disingenuous at best, right?
Completely.
It was disingenuous. But the reason why I even wanted to even talk about this a little bit is because I kind of wanted to actually hear your thoughts on like, what do you think about that though? Do you think that's actually possible? That as far as like, could there be like an actual connection there or correlation?
Okay. So despite all the problems and how this is written up, this is poor. This is bad writing. It's an attempt. And what makes it what helps is that it's bad writing in terms of science communication.
Yes,
because it clearly shows his bias, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
It clearly shows, like when you read the other sentences around some stats or something like that, he would show.
Right.
Okay, it clearly shows where his alliances are. Yeah. The other, and for something to be a science communication, right? The other thing is that he mixes and interchanges words and don't give us a defined like stance where a particular term means. So when he talks about higher rates of mental illness have been found on the far left, right? Who's fucking getting diagnosed? Who's getting diagnosed with most mental illness?
Right.
Who cares enough to go see a freaking therapist? Mostly it's going to be people on the left who believe in that shit and don't blame it on demons and all that kind of stuff. So your population already is going to be more liberal.
It's already going to be skewed,
right? It's already going to be skewed. Second of all, when you say mental illness, though, like how are you defining that? What are you considering an illness in terms of like there's an awareness of a mental behavior that you might have, or
Mm-hmm.
a predilection that you might have,
Mhm.
that you are in counseling for, or maybe even take, but you're not taking medication. Who are you called to call it an illness? If my
And
dad just died and I'm seeking therapy for some
yeah,
psychological freaking therapy for that, like, but you will call that a mental illness because I'm mourning, because I'm in
and,
mourning?
that's
It doesn't
and that's
define
kind of
that.
and that's the difficulty of this whole this basically this whole topic, pretty much, right? It's kind of like, how do you actually define the illness? Because it's like because there is a level of like, this person may have a proclivity to this particular type of response, but does that mean it's an illness that makes them like that? So it's like,
And then
so how do you
to
define
like,
that line?
and so you then go into the making it in a juxtaposition of people that are religious. Like, what the fuck does that got to do
Yeah,
with the conservatism versus the
yeah.
liberal argument that
I
you make?
was
Okay,
like,
so I get it. The conservatism may have
yeah.
quote unquote more people that deem themselves to be religious, but
Mhm.
there's just as much church going. The president is a well-known Catholic,
Mhm.
right? There's
Yeah.
just as much religious people on the left than there is on the right. Um, Even if I was to grant the premise of his argument, whatever the fuck
His
he's laying
argument,
out here, is
yeah.
bullshit. One thing that he's saying out loud, he doesn't realize that he's really shitting on conservatives, because what he's saying is that liberals care and conservatives don't give a fuck.
What do you you know what's
Is
funny?
what he's saying.
I came to that conclusion as well. But you know what I think he's actually saying beyond that? I think he's saying that liberals care too much. I think that's his argument. I think
Too
he's
much or
saying that
not, you can
they're
add
too
that. You
much.
can add that if you want.
Yeah,
The fuck that.
yeah.
But he is making an argument also
Yes,
that conservatives don't give a fuck.
conservatives don't care.
So liberals can care too much, liberals can care a little bit, but that's why I broke it down
Yeah,
to liberals
yeah.
care.
I think that's accurate. Yep.
So because liberals
Yeah.
care, they're
Yeah.
worried about the world. They're worried about their neighbor. They're
But
worried
that
about things outside of their own self-preservation.
but being that worrisome though, it can create a lot
So
of
guess
stress,
what?
though.
You're gonna
Right?
call that a mental illness because that nigga cares too much.
Yeah, and that would be nonsense.
Fine, you'll call it mental illness, but if you're gonna say I have a mental
Yeah.
illness because I care too much,
Yeah.
okay,
No, that would be
I
egregious.
guess you guys put me in that stat,
Yeah.
but your juxtaposition it to you not giving a fuck
Mhm.
about anybody outside
Yeah.
yourself.
Yeah.
That's the position you want to take. So
Yeah.
it was fucking trash. It was fucking stupid. And so this is what it is, though, when we're talking about these people who carry out these atrocities,
Yes.
right? And we know we started off. We talked about right wing supremacists, right wing extremism. Mostly are these fucking white men, right, of this particular class.
Yep.
That are carrying out this thing that the government is worried about. Mostly, it's not just exclusively them, but when you're a government, you're looking to try to reduce the greatest amount of harm. So the biggest problem in terms of domestic terrorism right now is white supremacy.
Yeah.
And it should be addressed. And it should be addressed as and completely in whole, apart from the whole mental health discussion. And that should be apart from the whole Second Amendment discussion.
But you can't. You're not going to.
You have to address it. You have to address it. You have to separate them. You have to.
But you're not going to be able to, though.
Yes, you can. Yes, you can. You have to have a president who doesn't fucking flirt with white supremacists and has dinners with them.
Okay.
Has dinners and brings them in talking and then talking about when David Duke fucking endorses you for you to be like, instead of saying no, fuck that guy and fuck what he represents, you went, oh, if he endorsed me, I don't know, I guess you know what I mean, I don't know him, you know what I mean, but I guess if he endorsed me, yeah, I get, hey, what do you want me to do, nigga? You left a lot of crack open on that door.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
we can't be able to just be like, David Duke, at some level, we're gonna say David Duke has a mental illness, or we could just be like, no, that nigga just racist. This nigga's just anti-society, anti-social from the cohesiveness that we're trying to build as a society.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna give him the scale because there's plenty of people out there with mental health issues that have never hurt a fly, and it's bullshit that they've been fucking in this dragnet. They've been caught up in this dragnet with these people that are committing heinous atrocities on society.
Do people become antisocial, or are people born that way? From your perspective, what do you think?
I don't know.
Like, what
I mean, that's the whole going back to nature versus nurture kind of thing. I really, but I'm like, yo, I think maybe, people just, when I say born that way, like chemistry is weird.
Chemistry is very weird.
The biology is weird. As an embryo is really weird, and making sure all those things fall into place to be what we call the percentage of the society that we call normal versus these experiences that are we have a term called disabled. We call it handicap. We call it special needs. We have all these terms for it because this is not the dominant population's experience. But with that said, these people have had everything regular this whole time. They've been regular. And now we're just saying, okay, it's mental health. It's mental health for them. So that's bullshit. That guy's article is bullshit. But we need to actually invest in mental health, but we need to decouple it from the conversation about these mass shootings about guns. We need to do something about the guns. We need to make it more accurate to the Constitution, right?
There's a lot of guns.
Right?
There's a lot of guns. I'll agree with that.
And we need to do something about white supremacy specifically. We need to target them and make them feel like we're hunting them as a society, because as a society we realize even the powers that be realize this isn't good for the continuity of sales, for example, at our Walmart. If people are afraid to go Walmart because motherfuckers are shooting at the Walmart, right? So it behooves everybody to eradicate white supremacy.
So I'll say this so we can close out this section, because we definitely been going on this for a bit. Ideologies don't die. That's kind of the conclusion that I came to when it came to radicalization. They don't die, but the way that you combat ideologies, from my perspective, and through the research I've done, is create counter ideologies to that ideology. So that's a direct way to address it.
You can try.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. You can try.
We need to do all of the above. Basically, we need to do all of the above.
Yeah.
So that's the throwback. That's all the things that we need to catch up on. That's not even the topics we're gonna plan on discussing. But fucking,
it's a serious issue though.
Another week in America, mass shootings all over, but people still guard your mental health. It don't mean you are freaking, oh my God, am I going to be the next mass shooter? I don't think I'm going to be a mass shooter. Like, no. Don't.
Everyone has stress. Everyone has anxiety.
You don't have to feel lumped in with these motherfuckers who are doing these same things. These people are antisocial. These people are evil. All right, at least that's my position. They're just evil, and maybe we just need to get rid of some of them. Simple as that. No Minority Report. I would never. What up, fam? It's Darwin, the guy that was just talking. First off, thanks for watching and supporting the show. But I gotta give y'all some homework. Your challenge, if you choose to accept it, is to interact with the show. That means 1, hitting that like button, because I know you like our stuff. 2, make sure you subscribe so we can swim our way up your timeline whenever we drop new content. The third thing, please share the channel with your friends. Maybe they'll learn a thing about a thing or two. Oh, last thing, we're over here talking about what y'all talking about. So go ahead and carry that conversation on into the comments. We be up in there too.
So it wouldn't be Challenge Day without any of our own challenges. Bro, do you have anything that you would like to discuss as far as the challenge goes?
I've done events and stuff at the crib, dinners and parties and stuff at the house, and got people to come over and stuff like that. But like,
Yeah.
so I sort of feel like, I've developed some sort of rapport, some sort of like friendship with some of the people in the neighborhood, right? We got each other's phone number. We're always we're in a group chat, and we be talking about different stuff. But me and a couple of two other dudes in my same row are black men. And I'm like, yo, here's a chance to like specifically foster, we are here. Like,
Yeah.
at the same time, like where we're living at, you know what I mean? It's like, yo, we made it here. This is like a little bit of an exclusive kind of group here. We should bond. We should like, and we actually own homes. It's not like we're renters.
Yeah.
So it's like, at some point, it's got to start where we build a relationship. I'm accommodating. Let's do something, this other thing. So let me try. I'm trying to, but boom, we did it. We got together. We actually fucking got together. We went to a restaurant, sat in the lounge, and we it was a table. It wasn't like, it wasn't specifically at a bar, so it was a little bit more personable. If you're at the bar, all three of you next to each other, you're just watching the TV pretty much the whole time, kind of thing. So it was loud, and plus there was no game on.
Oh, okay, so y'all was just kicking it for real.
But we had to legit kick it.
Yeah.
And I was like, I was bracing myself for some fancy raccoons. I ain't gonna lie. I was bracing myself, dog, like, because there's been some real tangential kind of interactions and stuff like that. You know what I mean? I was bracing myself for, is somebody a fancy raccoon? I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, because when you, like, again, the higher you climb up, some fancy raccoons that got up there because they be climbing. They know how to climb. And so they get up there with you. You look around and just, not all skin folk is kinfolk.
Yeah, absolutely.
They black, dog. They black. I was like, yes, my neighbors are black.
Oh my god.
You know what I mean? Like, no, I knew their skin color. I knew that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But like, I had to go hang out with them specifically and be like, okay, they black. You know what I mean? They black. And so that's
to really confirm their level of
that whole
authenticity.
Blackness confirmed.
Yeah, the whole blackness.
You know what I mean? But it's a diversity in the I guess in
the diaspora.
But yeah, in the diaspora in general. I mean, there's no such thing as freaking like, the thing is that we had a time, bro. We had a time in the fucking 90s, right? In our specific like window of existing in like middle school, high school, a little bit maybe early college, so that where identity of what it is to be black was just like so fucking narrow, dog. You know what I mean? If you freaking had a great score on the SAT or some shit like that, or if you actually spoke proper
English.
What I won't say proper, but like the mainstream English that you have to speak going through academia.
Yeah.
They called you less than black.
Yeah.
They called you an Oreo.
Yeah.
If you happen to like rock music, even though that's the fucking source is blackness, you were called a fucking Oreo. You were fucking deemed to be, this nigga trying to act white.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you wore clothes that fit, we were swimming. We were swimming in our clothes. It was so big. We could have a whole nother nigga in there with us.
Yeah.
In these clothes that we was wearing, right? So there is a diversity, definitely, in what it is to be black. And so that's what's exhibited in this group that we just met up inside of the table. And I'm like, okay, but I know they're black. That's the thing. And there's a couple of things you gotta let me know. That the difference between being a fancy raccoon and being, and being black, right?
Yes.
And yeah, you can be a black fancy raccoon. I get it, but like my thing is, I'm trying to keep an eye out for fancy fucking raccoons.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So, the boys is black. Them boys is cool. They down to earth. You know, again, the conversations that I've had with them before have been like in passing. You know what I mean? So it's like everybody's cool in like a 5-second clip. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Like I even say this to myself. I'm better in small doses. You know what I mean? Like if you're gonna fuck with me for a long while, you know what I mean? You're gonna have to. There's gonna be some drunken nights, or there's gonna be some like the vibes is gonna be off or something. Like, after a long while, you're gonna be like, okay, can I fuck with this nigga? In general,
Long term,
like okay,
yeah.
But I know I'm getting myself into. So anyway, they so you know those 5-second freaking clips, which just was like it was really much to judge at. But I think all that to say that I think we have a basis. Dog, we live right next door. Dog, how about bruh, we got there in separate cars. This nigga's literally next door to me. We took separate cars there.
That's crazy. I ain't gonna lie. that's a wild. That's a wild.
That bit is legit 5 minutes away. I could have walked. I could have walked. If I would have left the house a little bit earlier, it would take me a 20-minute walk.
Bruh, so that's okay. First of all, that is when you put it that way, it sounds crazy. I ain't gonna lie.
I could have walked. But 15 minutes, probably 15 minutes. 15 minutes, I could have walked there.
Yeah, it sounds crazy. At the same time, I'm also thinking about like maybe it's a privacy issue kind of thing, where it's like, okay, I'm about to link up with this guy. Yeah, we could have just we all could have just obviously hopped in the whip.
Bro, we could take an Uber.
We literally live right next to each other. We could just we didn't even have to hop in each other's car, take an Uber, like you mentioned. You could just call the Uber and we just
especially hey, maybe we might
it's right there.
Maybe we might get litty, you know what I mean?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Hey.
Come right back. Like
come
it's
right
like
back.
Yeah. So
yeah, we probably would walk back if we really were drunk. Like I said, we would probably just like walk back home.
Yeah, just try to walk it off or something.
It's literally that close.
Yeah. But I'm wondering that is funny when you put it that way. I'm not gonna lie. That's like something you'll see like on an episode of Seinfeld or something.
Yeah,
like that. That's really funny.
And then like we legit, we got there, and then we you know what I mean we came at different time. Yo, niggas showed up relatively on time. I'm learning. Okay. See, the thing is, I'm learning
that's fair.
about these niggas. I'm collecting data here, you know?
You did.
And so, like, you know, you come from different location if you want to. You know what time this appointment is set, right? This nigga here, and one of these dudes worried me, dog. I think it worried me. That would have me worried because, okay, so the thing is, like, I'm accepting the fact that maybe they may be late or maybe whatever, you know what I mean? It's like, all I'm here right now is I'm on a fact-finding mission. So, okay, maybe we wait 30 minutes, we wait an hour, and like he shows up in an hour. Okay, he did show up though, but it was an hour late. So I got like some decisions to make. How I'm gonna plan with this in the future. If I do even want to meet up in the future. So all kinds of data I'm collecting. All of this is me freaking uncharted territory, right? After okay, so by the way, like I did notice this too. It was all fist bumps. It was fist bumps. All around. It was fist bumps.
Okay.
Right? So it was like okay. All right, you know what I mean? No bro hug. No, it's just like
I mean you gotta
we're establishing things, I guess.
Yeah.
It's just a bro hug. You do the one. You do the one side.
Yeah, but you gotta earn the bro hug. Like that has to be earned.
It had to be the most. I couldn't get the. You know what I mean? No.
That has to be earned, man.
No, it was. Or even from a distance, we do the pat. You know what I mean? And then there was something you stay away.
I could even give you more context with that. Like my barber and I, like we recently started doing the bro hug, and I've been going to this guy for over a year.
Yeah,
for over a year. We like literally in the last month we started doing like I came with the fist bump and he came with the open hand, and we looked at each other and I was like,
it's
I was like, I didn't know that we progressed to this part of the
we made to the next level.
I didn't know.
Did you feel violated? You didn't get consent? You didn't give consent?
I was like, what? I was like,
whoa,
ignoring the
Mr.
sign.
Majors, slow down. All right, wait a minute.
I was like, wait. We're going too fast.
Wait,
going down too fast. But yeah, he gave me an open hand, and I was like, I was receptive to it. I was like, oh, okay,
okay.
we locked in. We
Next
locked in.
level content. You locked in.
Yeah.
So it wasn't that, but okay, I'm like, okay, like, okay, but I didn't know if somebody else was like, maybe they're just like personality, maybe just that much more open to where they don't need that much establishment to be able to like go in for the bro hug kind of thing. But he didn't do it, and so neither of them did it, and that's cool. But I showed up on time, and then like I knew niggas was gonna be late, so I'm like, okay, niggas gonna be late. And so I showed up on time, but I was like, I knew, because I wanted to like give like the benefit of the doubt. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Just in case somebody else showed up on time as well. But I knew niggas would be late. And I'm like, that's cool. Just don't be egregious. Then it kind of tells me a little bit about your judgment.
Yeah, if it's really bad, then it's like, yeah, come on, bro.
That lets you know a little about your character, right? You got people waiting for you. You know what I mean? You know they waiting for you. Stuff, right? The one dude worded me though, dog. The nigga hit me with the. I've never heard this before. I'm like, oh, these niggas is getting good. Because here's the thing: when you make an agreement with a nigga,
yeah,
make sure you eliminate the wiggle room.
Yes,
niggas will always
absolutely
establish at some point, or try to establish at some point, a wiggle room. And now it's up to you when you're making plans with niggas. How much you were willing to allow for this wiggle room, because you're a nigga too. You might fucking need that shit sometime in the future, right? You might need to call it in, right? All right, so this nigga hit me with, I might show up a little bit late. Don't let exact times be a barrier. Yo. Motherfucker, Webster, what?
Bro, I was
like, you really tried it.
I'm not gonna lie.
Really?
I was like, yo, did he like read like?
I said that to you.
Yeah, exactly. Like when you sit, that's why I sent you back that emoji with like my hand on my face. I was like, yo, did this guy like read Virginia Woolf or like one of these philosophers that was like,
this boy plucked a piece out of his thesis or some shit like that. He pulled like, this down.
That was such a thorough statement. It was so thorough. I was like, you had to have done research.
I'm like, this nigga really did go look this up. He had that shit on ChatGPT. He had the algorithm do that work. To come up with that fucking shit. Like, yo, I've never heard this freaking SAT level excuse for a nigga to maintain that wiggle room.
Yo, if I ever heard
wiggle room, dog. I wanted to say, bro, you're not coming. You just say you're not coming.
Yeah.
just say you're not coming.
Yo, if I ever heard a title for a PhD dissertation this on level, CPT time,
this nigga here, he would be source. He would be source material. He'll be source material.
Absolutely.
He'll be like, as this gentleman once said, it's just like, he'll be source. And I was like, that was fucking brilliant.
Yo,
but I see through you, my G.
Yeah.
So I was worried. Worried about homie, you know what I mean? But like, he actually showed up before the other dude. And he was only like 5 minutes late. You know what I mean? So that was like on time.
That's a crazy plot twist.
Crazy plot twist. Yeah, spoiler alert. Twist, Boom. He showed up like 5 minutes late. I was like, dope. And then the other dude showed up 5 minutes after that. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I was like, that tells me something about you. You know what I mean? So that would be the deal. I mean, I've looked up. Like this is like a little fever dream of mine. One day I've been looking up, and I keep a list of like some black ass cities that are like nice,
like that are dope,
that are nice,
Bowie,
that are like where I'm living now,
Bowie,
but like black as fuck, but just black, but like, Bowie, and I don't have to drop off in terms of quality of living.
Bowie, Maryland.
Bowie's like that.
Bowie,
Bowie,
Maryland.
I think you know what? You're right. I think Bowie is come up on the list
Mhm.
when the different times I've looked this up and
Yes, I've been
and
looking at
made the
I've been looking
idea
at
of
homes
doing that.
there for a while. Looking at homes there for a while. I
Yeah.
mean, they're expensive, but I've been looking. That's one of the places. If I wanted to establish a place to live, that's definitely one of the places that I would in Maryland, right?
Yeah.
Like if I want to stay in Maryland, which it would be cool to stay in Maryland, but I have been looking at other states. But definitely, that is actually Bowie, Maryland. I think it's Prince George's County has the richest black county in the United States. But Bowie, Maryland is probably, I think, the richest city of black folks that live.
Yeah, I think there was
and it's black like
it was black. Yeah, there was a Congress freaking I forget who was it. Was it oh man, who was the congressman, the black gentleman that represents that district in Congress?
Check real quick.
Either way, bro, in Congress, the dude was like, there was something going on, and they made fun of his district, which is saying that like the Republicans did make fun of his district, like saying that crime is up in your area because some black was going, you're talking about some black, and it was like you probably represent some decrepit shit, and then like turns out,
yeah,
that nigga had receipts like, nigga, we're like one of the richest fucking districts. Because you have no idea what you're talking about, like what this district was. So that was his like clapback, which is like, you idiot, you know what I mean? We're just at the top end of the per capita earnings. We have the top end of like people who hold degrees that live in our district. You know what I mean? Small business owners and stuff that live in our district. Like the district is very fucking successful. You know what I mean? As for to be like a black ass district.
That's actually one of the reasons why I live in PG County. Even though PG County has its downsides, but it's a black county, like really black county. So, and it's dope. Like you get to meet. I mean, some of the most interesting people that I've met here in the DMV were people that I met within PG County. Yeah. Of course, I have friends who are like in Montgomery County, which is which is a very diverse county. Which I like Montgomery County as well. And you have Howard County. I have friends who live in Howard County, which is a little bit more northern from like PG County. But PG County is definitely the largest county with the richest black community, richest black representation, I would say. Not I would say it. The stats say that.
That's a stat.
Yeah.
Yep. So either way, we did it, and so now, and one thing I made sure I did is like I try to like put in a seed for like the next meetup. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's like, yo, here's some ideas. Let's do this. You know what I mean? And so you have to start somewhere. Okay, so can't nobody say nigga ain't try. This nigga be trying.
yeah. And it's a couple things that I was thinking about as you were describing your efforts, right? And do you sense a bit of apprehensiveness in their participation in
Of course. I think I think it's in general.
But the question that I'm more interested in you answering, or just hear your perspective on, is why do you think that is? And what I'm posing to you is a multi-layered question, so I'm curious to hear what your response is.
Okay, so I think that there's this fucking alpha mentality with men in general.
That's part of it.
Right? Men in general. And then there's also the part of that alpha mentality leads you to be less personable, right? Okay. You want to own the room. You want to be dominant over people and over just like whatever situation that you're in. And making friends as an adult is already hard enough as it is.
Absolutely.
Right? But you have to like stop with the pretenses of survival if you want to actually make friends. And so the pretenses of survival was all like, if it was physical, I'd have to dominate over you, or even in the corporate world, you dominate over somebody, whether you're more business savvy than them, whether you got more diplomas or degrees than them or certificates that you can freaking become their bosses, become their managers, you know what I mean? And like you're kind of like adulting and being alpha over your subordinates kind of thing. So and also we have always looked at each other like black men have for a long time looked at each other as threats, right? So this is part of the whole alpha thing, right? We looked at each other as threats. So like growing up, it's like I don't know, nigga, who you is, nigga, where you from? You know what I'm saying? Like when you feel like before, like you don't just say hi to people, a stranger, just say hello, good afternoon or some shit. You know what I mean? Wave them, you know what I mean? Wait, just wait. Hey, throw hands up in the neighborhood, like the friendly ass nigga. Now you think I think you gay.
Yeah.
Now you gay.
Yeah.
Cause you waved hello to a neighbor. It's that kind of rough. It's that fucking the toxic waters that we swam in develop into where we are now. So there's a level of distrust of
and you would say that's across
black,
the board. You said that's across. You would say that's across the board, or in the
I think it's
community?
across the board, and there's a lot of unlearning that needs to happen with black men specifically on how to like foster relationships with each other. That can be like, bro, you can build a relationship with another black man outside of the basketball court.
Yeah.
You ain't just gotta be hooping to be able to make friends with another, for black men to be make friends. Or it ain't gotta exactly be a business venture.
Yeah, hooping was definitely a conduit for me to.
It's a conduit.
It's
a conduit.
Yes,
that and church.
That and
you know what I mean? Church forces you in like, a choir together or in a class together or something, or a particular ministry or whatever they're together.
Well, I wouldn't say it forces you, but I would say that it does create a expectation of
bonding and fellowship
and bonding. Yeah, so it's more of a there is more of a motivation to do that in a church space because of people are going into like a church space or any kind of religious setting for one thing or another, right? To ultimately better themselves. So it does. That's the kind of atmosphere that kind of like invites that level of vulnerability and openness. So, so I understand what you're saying, like that. It shouldn't just be relegated to just these.
You should be able to organically, just like a random dude off the street, become friends with them.
I agree.
Not to say that you have to be friends with everybody. I'm not trying to be friends with everybody, but like you should be able to have the capability of being friends with anybody.
I think that's a reflection of capitalism, though.
Capitalism?
Yeah. And
why black men don't make better friends to each other?
This is how I'm gonna make a connection because of what you preface with as far as just this low level threat that men typically just kind of have with each other just by even being in each other's spaces or like passing by each other and meeting each other and interacting.
Yeah.
Capitalism does create an atmosphere of competition. That's a large part of
it's just
what,
like all
what
existing, always present competition.
Exactly. There's an always at all times. Yeah. Even outside of your job at all times, because like you'll go somewhere, like say you go to like a bar or a restaurant somewhere, and say you're just at a sports bar and you're watching a game and you meet a guy who's at the bar and y'all just chopping up watching the game together. The conversation typically will go to like, hey, what do you do for a living?
What do you do?
You know what I'm saying? Like what's your profession? And
then depending on what they tell you, you know what I mean, you're gonna start judging them and categorizing them, and not to say it's always a bad judgment, but still you're gonna start like funneling them into an idea or an archetype of what you think they are or who they are.
Exactly.
Even for that.
So that's why I say it's also a proponent of just.
But here's the thing. Mm-hmm. I have black male friends that I've struggled with, and these were friends that I've grew up with. That I've struggled.
That's a good point.
To create bonding experiences. We're talking about over a decade of effort, struggling, trying to create bonding experiences.
I'm wondering if that has been the same experience with me with some of my guys. I don't think it has, because we spent a lot. We when I was still in Florida, we spent a lot of time with each other. So like. We were able to do that.
But here's the thing: when we were in college, we spent a lot of time with each other. So like, there's that point of origin. There's that origin story. Granted, there's that origin story. But where are we 10 years from now? Where are you in those relationships at the 10-year mark? Where am I in these relationships at the 10-year mark? And where are we gonna be if this 2023 is the the pivotal point where these guys in the neighborhood that where we actually try to establish something. When we look back at this in 2030 or 2033, you know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
did we become close? You know what I mean? Have I become like a godfather to one of their kids or something like that? Have they, you know what I mean? Do they come over do they have a key to my house? You know what I'm saying? Like shit like that. And so like you can establish that. They've done it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And they've done it in other neighborhoods and like and we should be able to do that. And be able to use it as a resource, especially I'll let you continue there, but especially when the dominant race here is still white.
Yes.
It's diverse.
Big facts.
It's
Big
diverse,
facts. Mm-hmm.
but it's a white ass space, and that HOA board is all white.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it's a
Yeah.
fucking election, like a freaking district level, almost like a freaking Congress level election to get on that board. You know,
That's
so we
insane.
still
Yeah.
a clear minority.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we want to make sure we got each other as a resource.
Got each other back. Yeah. Yeah. I was gonna mention. I think that's very interesting. It is telling of like, yo, we really need to be like leaning on each other more for real, and like really be each other's support system for sure. Just as men, but particularly in the Black community, I think it's interesting. Like even with it's the fruits of your relationship with someone is telling by how it progresses, right? So like a good friend of mine actually, who I actually met in 2015 through his wife. Like his wife is I knew her like years before I knew him because we ended up going to the same church, and we actually went to Georgetown together. Actually, I met her at the church, but I didn't know that she went to Georgetown as well. So we definitely just hit it off, and we were just like really cool people. Like she's dope. Like she's like low key like a sister to me for real. Really dope person, like really sweet person, and he introduced me to him, and we hit it off. He's really cool dude, and we just got cool. Like we just got really cool, like instantly in a matter of a couple of weeks, and that was 2015. And fast forward to 2023, I'm the godfather of one of their kids.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So that's telling. And
Yeah.
these are people who could have chosen so many other people to be. You know what I'm saying? Like,
but the thing is, it has to start. There's the origin story.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's one day there's the origin story where it all started, where it all sparked. And I've tried to have those kinds of moments. Like I've been to the one dude's house. He's come over to my house, like, but that was only one time, just like when we were just learning each other, like names and stuff like that. And I've created other opportunities so that we can like try to come to you, but it just didn't work out. But it's there's an origin story somewhere.
Yeah.
And even though if it didn't happen organically, me knowing now that I'm like, this is what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to foster these relationships. I'm trying to make it happen. I'm planting this fucking seed.
Yeah.
I would rather have had it happen just randomly, organically, but it didn't. Sad thing is the first person that kind of organically was trying to establish something like before I even had to bust him was the white dude that was a couple on the other direction. Hey, I was building out the backyard. Hey, can I help you? You know what I mean? I see you working back there. You know what I mean? Hey, I'm free. You know what I mean? He went and got a rake, you know what I mean? And helped me clear out. You know what I mean? He just volunteered it,
That's dope.
He had one time he was mowing the lawn, his lawn, right? And he sometimes mows the lawn of the lady next to him. And the lady next to him is my neighbor. So that's like the three of us are kind of connected. So he was like, hey, I'm mowing hers already. I'm just gonna keep mowing. I just mow yours. You just go right through it. Just like all three of us at the same time, so our grass could be at the same level.
That tells me a lot about that guy. That tells me.
You know what I'm saying? And so like he volunteered that. You know what I mean? He did it.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
in that regard,
he was in that realm. He was a good dude.
Yeah.
Turns out, he wasn't doing right by his wife, and they got divorced.
I remember that story.
Yeah. So they got divorced, and they're gone. He's gone. I never really got the true full story of what happened, but she told me that he violated in some way right? Really nondescript, and he's gone. So,
Yeah.
but for him to have, I mean, I got to a point one time I was just like, okay, no, okay, you're thirsty. You're thirsty, my guy. You're too a little too thirsty. And so, but he was like, he was trying. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That nigga was trying, and so these dudes ain't do that. You know, these niggas ain't do that. You know what I mean? They ain't like, you know what I'm saying? So, like, they ain't got to necessarily, but like, take some interest. You know what I mean? Especially if I invite you over for like free food or something like that. You know what I mean? Like, maybe slide through or something like that. But you know, we're building, and I'm actually positive. I'm feeling positive about the whole encounter. Um, oh, one thing I missed saying earlier, I was about to, I almost forgot the detail, is that when we was leaving at the end of it all, we got to the parking lot, we were all like 3, 4, 5 spaces apart from each other. Apart from each other. We lived right next to each other, drove separately, ended the parking lot right next to each other.
That's funny. That's really funny.
It was just like, all right, okay. So,
But and honestly, I'll be honest. Like that's probably one of the reasons. Like I myself don't really like to seek out new friends because it's an exhausting process.
but
really
at
is an
the
overall
end,
process.
your future self will thank you.
Yeah, sure, of course.
Yeah.
It's me being entirely selfish. Like I'm not,
Yeah.
I'm not denying that. I'm not making an excuse for that. I don't feel like it. You know,
Yeah.
so like it's kind of like when I wake up sometimes. Not when I wake up for work, so I'm like I don't feel like going to work, but I'm gonna go to work anyways. But like so like yeah, it's like you know. But I actually like what I do, so it's a little different. But like but yeah, it's kind of the same thing. It's like yeah, I just don't feel like it. It's like I don't feel like it because I know the energy
Right.
is gonna take.
Yeah, you
Right?
gotta put,
So,
put that energy to it. You
but
have
you
to
gotta put
actively
energy.
do it.
Yeah, yeah.
You gotta actively
yeah.
do it. So before, when we were kids and stuff, you didn't have to actively try to make friends because like
Yeah.
you were in the same class together.
Mhm.
There was only one basketball that they allowed out there, so y'all had to play together. You ended up
Yeah.
on the team
Yeah.
together, or you know, what I mean, your parents forced you to take an instrument. So the other kid was parents forced him to take. So now y'all in band together. You know what I'm saying? Or you just happen to freaking see my dude collecting Pokemon cards, or in my case, it was fucking Pogs. You know what I mean? And so, oh snap, you collect or comic books. You know what I mean? And like you bond over comic books and like randomly slowly just happens organically. But now we don't have those spaces outside of like from either it's going to be work. We're either going to go to work or and meet people, or we start adopting our partners' friends as our friends, and they adopt our friends as their friends. So your circle kind of grows a little bit, but it doesn't multiply because that's that same layer of friends. It's not like a whole new circle. You know what I mean? Like, oh snap, we know somebody that owns a freaking timeshare in Vegas now, or something like that. You know what I mean? You never know what you get. Oh, this person has a yacht. You know what I mean? And you know what I mean? Oh shit, or a boat or something like that. If I just pay for fuel, you know what I mean? They're down to go fishing just because I met this new person. You know what I mean? And if you need some information, oh, it turns out you do taxes, for example. You know what I mean? Or something like that. I mean, now I'm a trusted friend of yours, and you actually provide this other thing that you come with. You know, or even if it's somebody who's in IT. You know, oh, let me take a look at you having some problems over there. You're connecting, or hey, let me take a look. Let me help you out. All that neighborly shit. Did you have a challenge?
I did have a challenge. And something that was I would say it's pretty quick. It's just my challenge, honestly, and I think it's definitely still a work in progress. It's having a consistent sleep cycle. Right? And
Man, I
that for
gave that
me,
up.
yeah, that bruh.
I gave that
That,
up. As long as I get some sleep, that's all that matters. As
you
long as I
know
get
what?
some sleep, that's all
You
that
know what?
matters.
And that's kind of I think that's the conclusion that I've been coming to. It's like I just need a decent amount of sleep so I can function. Right? Like currently right now, I'm probably functioning off of 2 hours of sleep. Right? I'm here, you know, I'm present, but like I'm definitely tired. Right? I'm definitely tired. But I've worked um menial jobs and I've had ridiculous jobs that required me to operate off of little sleep. And I think my body got used to it after a while. So it kind of knows how to adjust when that is the case. now I have a job where I can get a legitimate 7 to 8 hours of sleep every night if I really wanted to. But like, it's like almost like my body refuses to do that because my mind, because
You're
I
already
just be up in
programmed
my
the
mind.
other way.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, and my mind just be having all types of stuff running through it and all that stuff, and like, there's always something in my head, and there's always information in it. Of course,
How's your sleep hygiene? You know what that is?
um,
Sleep hygiene?
I'm not sure if I'm aware exactly what you mean with that is.
Okay, so sleep
Hygiene.
hygiene
I think I kind of know,
involve
but I'm not sure. But go ahead.
okay, so it's gonna sound familiar as I start listening to some things. But sleep hygiene involves setting yourself up for a successful night's rest, right? So that includes things like there's I think a blue light filter on your phone. You can set that maybe at like 7:30 or 8 o'clock, right? So all of a sudden your phone's light takes away the blue light, which is something that that prevents your circadian rhythm for engaging or something like that. I don't know, but it helps your brain slow down
Okay.
because it's less processing. There's things like having the room cool, right? Having a cool room to sleep in. Like
Yes.
if you're hot, if you're in the middle of the night, you're gonna be sweaty. You're gonna get up. You're gonna be tossing and turning. You're gonna get up to go turn on the fan or something, and like that ruining interruption of the sleep, is overall at least a bad quality sleep. There's noises, what different noises are in the house, or if you have, for example, a podcast on or something like that, that's or versus music, or versus nature sounds, or some people might use white noise. You know what I mean? But knowing what is that type of thing that you can listen to that like helps your brain slow down and just like fall asleep. And then of course, uh, so one thing like light sources, right? So this is one thing that I do is I wear a face mask, right? And like so like having the curtains that are like super dark, they're freaking like I forgot to call them double.
Yeah. I have blackout curtains.
Blackout curtains, right? Blackout curtains. That's one thing. Having
Yeah,
some blackout curtains,
very effective. Yeah.
And a lot of people don't pay attention to their mattress. Like
Yes.
if you get it, first of all, when it might sound overrated, but like you gotta spend money on a good mattress.
Yeah.
Like we used to get away with some shit growing up. We used to get away with some bullshit.
Yeah, I have some good mattresses. You know what I'm saying? But like but they are old, and I definitely need like new mattress for sure.
Part of having and owning mattresses though is even if you have it for 8 years, right? Every couple months you need to flip that mattress. If you can't flip it all the way because there's a because maybe you have like some mattresses come installed with like a pillow top almost on them, then you have to at least rotate the mattress, right? For the different lumps and stuff that build up in the different grooves that you end up sliding into naturally. You might not see it when you look at the thing, but like your body and the mattress knows, you know what I mean? Because that like when you get like a groove on the couch, the same spot that you sit every time, that same butt groove. Your butt groove,
That's interesting. I never thought about it that way with mattresses. So that's actually that's new information. I never
so all of that. So sleep hygiene has a lot of that stuff.
Yeah.
In it, you know what I mean? And so that's the question. Like, if you're struggling to sleep, the first step to try is to figure out your sleep hygiene, how it's proper, and how you can minimize those things that prevent you from getting a good night's sleep. Again, even something like that would be not drinking, maybe a lactose type of beverage, or it could be a caffeinated kind of beverage. Just don't drink those things after 7 or something like that. Just there's a bunch of different kinds of things that are part of all that. So, but for yourself, how do you think your routine, your hygiene is?
So I
generally.
So so I do incorporate some of those things that you mentioned already. Yeah, I definitely do. I think it could be better. I do have to do probably the mattress flip for sure, because I never even knew that. I never even thought about that. So I think I might end up doing that, actually, just flipping the mattress and or turning it.
Nah, it's best if you don't have a pillow top on one side,
Yeah.
just flip it the whole way.
Yeah,
Just
'cause
like completely flip it.
I think I may have a pillow top on. I think I may have a pillow top on actually. Now that I think about it, so I may have to like turn it, flip it the
Yeah,
other way. Like
just
you
rotate
mentioned.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, just rotate it. So I'm definitely gonna do that. And pillows, having good quality pillows.
Good quality pillows.
Especially so you don't wake up with neck pain and all that stuff. So
Mhm.
good quality pillows. Definitely to invest into good quality pillows. And but I do incorporate a few of those things you mentioned. Like I have like my Echo Show on the side that I use. Like sometimes I use white noise or I use like natural noises. I have, like I mentioned before, blackout curtains as well. I usually have like I'll say Alexa ocean, play ocean sounds or whatever, and it'll do that. Let me see. The blue tint thing on the phone, I've been aware of that. I just never, I don't think I've ever implemented it though. But on my phone, what I do have is I set up my notifications where like different times of the day it'll be like, okay, this is what's allowed and this is what's not permitted during.
Yeah, so you have like a do not disturb in the middle of the
Yeah,
night.
do not disturb. So I have that. There's like a wind down period that I've also set as well, where like it, to get me to like, okay.
I ain't never understand that. These people that be like mad when somebody call them at the wrong time, apparently.
Yeah.
It's like, nigga, you're at work and you getting me taking phone calls at work, but your phone ain't on silent. You mad at me for calling you? Why your phone isn't on silent?
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Or even at the middle, it's the middle of the night. Do you know what time it is? Why you call? Like,
yeah, that's cool.
Why is your phone on?
Yeah,
that's on you. Yeah. I'm gonna call you. I'm gonna give it a try.
Yeah,
because I need something right now, so I'm gonna give it a try. Yep. If you happen to get caught slipping, it's like, okay, we on the phone now. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah, you up? You clearly up. I was about to say, hey, you up, but you clearly up.
Yeah, facts. I'm gonna check the temperature. Yeah. So I'm gonna need
you to grab that one bag that I talked to you about. Right now that we're on the phone, it's behind the thing. Yeah, don't say it out loud into the phone. It's behind, you know what I'm talking about. Yeah, and I'm gonna need you to bring that to. I'm gonna text you this one address. Yeah, and that bit is gonna self-destruct. Like, so you answer this 1 o'clock in the morning. That's on you.
That is and that's a very good point. Which is why I was so happy when Apple finally a couple years ago implemented that ability in their iOS. Like I immediately set that up. I was like, at work, this is who I will allow to get through to me during my work hours. During my personal time, it's only a select few people that I would allow to get through to me. During the weekends, again, select few people. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like I set up like that. So like, if you call me and it goes straight to voicemail, you didn't make that list, bitch.
You know you ain't make the list.
You know you made that list.
Sorry, my guy. Now you have some information about where our relationship stands. And so I'm saying, no disrespect. No disrespect.
No disrespect, man.
But know your fucking role.
Right.
Know your fucking space. Yeah. This ain't your lane. You can't be calling me, not you. You know what I mean? You can't be calling me at that time, not you. You ain't got it like that.
Bro, I ain't gonna like like and it made me realize, which is so funny, because it made me realize like how much I really value my time. Like when you set it up a certain way, you realize like, and you kind of look at how you structured it, and like, and it also provides structure in your life as well, because it's kind of like, okay, this is the time where like you're gonna wind down, or this is time when it's work, or this time when it's personal, or whatever. So even like down to like the apps, like I've made it that granular where like there's only certain apps that can send me notifications, notices, or whatever. Obviously like the pertinent ones and like calendar events, things like that. So like, yeah, but like, so in addition to like my sleep hygiene, that's what I've done like with my phone in particular. So like, so it's a bunch of people that or apps that I have that just completely silenced and just goes to like purgatory or whatever until I get to them. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, so that will be a part of it as well. But it also reminds me, like when I see it like on my phone, like, oh, it's time for me to wind down, that I actually actively start to like, okay, let me go get myself together, take a shower or whatever. Or if I feel like I've been doing a lot today and my mind is running, I'll take like some melatonin or something like that, sit on the bed for a bit and then, put something on as far as Alexa goes, and then fall asleep. So I think I have like an okay sleep hygiene, but it can absolutely be improved. So as far as my challenge goes, like it's it's an ongoing challenge. I think it's gotten better because of the fact I've been able to implement some of these things. But like, it's an ongoing thing. Another thing that actually has helped is this project that I've been on at my job, where it requires me to get up at a certain time in order to like get things done day to day. So I've consistently been waking up.
But see, this is part of what we talked about a while ago too. Is that I mean, they don't fucking pay you for going to bed early.
Yeah.
The reason you're going to bed early,
good segue.
Because I'd be on that Call of Duty. I'd be on that Call of Duty.
I'm already knowing.
You know what I'm saying? Like if it was up to me, if I had nothing else, but I had to go up to y'all fucking job, you know what I mean, tomorrow. So I got to take my ass to sleep at a particular time. And then I got to get up at a particular time. Like you said, you know what time you got to get up, whatever. Yeah. Once you do that, they're not paying you to take, that shower and that getting ready and then that drive, if you have to drive, or even if you're remote, you just that time that you're waking up is, they should be paying you. If you're like, boom, I'm trying to get to work. I'm trying to get myself right for your job. I could be getting myself right for this book that I'm writing. I could be getting myself right for maybe I want to take this class, or maybe there's this art project I'm working on or something like that. But no, I'm getting up at this particular time so I can focus on it. So you should be paying me for, compensating me for that, for even that time that I'm not specifically on the clock.
So what would you say for a person who would present this argument to you? Like, well, if that's the case, then launch a business. Like,
we can't
you're a 9-to-5er. Go get a business. Go start a business. What would you say to people who would present that argument?
Like, okay, a couple things I could say. First of all, I would easily just like refute the premise of that goddamn thing. It'd be like, you lucky you have employees. If we all bounce, you ain't got no business. We all bounce. If we unionize and we went on strike, writers, for example, you know what I mean? Your whole shit will shut down. So don't even step to me with that shit, But we can't all be entrepreneurs.
That too.
We can't all just be entrepreneurs. You know what I mean? So it's like there's a space for a corporation, you know what I mean, to employ a bunch of people. You know what I mean? And then there's a space for entrepreneurs, but we can't all, like, there's no way we could all be like, imagine everybody had their own business. Like to get what we needed, we'd have to go to freaking 12 different businesses. Yeah. Where we could just go to one grocery store or corporation. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, this person is a soap maker, or this person specifically is a butcher. You know what I mean? Or this person has a, like a farmer's market joint. So you have to go through all of these different places to get the groceries that we would need for the week in the house. That's not efficient. You can't build a society like that. It'll just be, we don't have enough land for that. It'll be impossible. It'll just be impossible. Like, to imagine how many cable companies we would have, how many freaking bitcoins, different kind of freaking crypto, different versions we have. If every person had their own, you know what I mean? And we'd have to like have each of them to trade. It'd be chaos.
All right, so there's never a dull moment in baseball sportscasting.
Specifically,
because
there's plenty of dull moments in baseball. I was like, wait a minute, where's the sentence going? I was like, a lot of dull moments. They're even trying to do it now where they're like putting a fucking pitch clock to make these pitches go faster and that time. But in baseball announcing,
baseball announcing commentary, you always got one of those, right? You always got one of those guys who just, it's a slip of a tongue kind of thing. Yeah. So basically what we got going on here is, and my brother's going to get further into it, is we got yet another announcer that slipped up and said the N-word with the hard ER at the end, and blamed it on a slip of a tongue. But your boy was really wild.
Glenn Kuiper is the Oakland A's play-by-play guy. Yep. And so in a pre-game show or something like that before the game starts, they do like, they have the local news might throw to them, and so they they'll give them a quick 5 minutes, about the game that's coming up and stuff. Yes. This dude literally just said nigger, right? And so I want to say this. I'm not completely of this camp, but I'm sympathetic to it. Of I don't like niggas saying the N word. I like niggas to say nigga or nigger, particularly if it's a quote. Like, so this headline says, "Did the sportcaster really use the N word while referring to the Negro League Baseball Museum?"
Yes.
Right. It should say, "Did this sportcaster really say nigger?" Well, okay. So here's the thing. A lot of white people might hear that and take some liberties and be, "Hey, I'm quoting. He said nigger."
Sure.
You know what I mean? He literally said, "Can a nigga borrow a fry?" I'm like,
yeah.
And I was like, I wasn't even like, oh my God, he said the word, the N word. I was just like, how is a nigga gonna borrow a fry? Is he gonna give it back, nigga? You know, that whole thing. Like, he was quoting someone.
That whole bit was hilarious, bro. I ain't gonna lie.
But the thing is, that was real life.
It was real life, so yeah.
It was a real life thing. And so, like, but I don't want people to just be blatantly saying that.
Yeah,
But there is something when bro, they twisted themselves in pretzels. When Trump said, you could do whatever you want. Grab him by the pussy. When you're a celebrity, they let you do it. Everywhere that reported about that, just would like struggle to figure out what the fuck to say here instead of saying pussy, which is you're quoting him. He said it, right? And you're a news. Now I get it. There's the FCC, you know what I mean? And you're cable and you're versus local. You can do a couple curse words, depending on what time of day and all that kind of shit, right? But even in writing, though, you are quoting. You put the quote marks on. Like, he didn't say the N word. He said nigger.
Yeah.
It hit different. If you quote what that nigga said, it hit different.
Yeah.
And it's the truth about what he said. And so I was just like, I was like, okay, fine. You don't want to say pussy. You could say genitalia, bro. They would say things like, you know, he talked about grabbing women by you know where, and they'll say that. Like, or grabbing women by their private parts. But they'll say that. Like, that's not what he said. He didn't say grab women by their private. He said pussy.
Yeah.
At very least, because you said genitalia. Like, why is it so hard for y'all to say grab women's genitalia? Or say he said grab them by the pussy. Or in this case, the dude said nigger. He said nigger, right? He's like, okay, so what would you guys do before the game? Oh, we went to the Negro League Museum and the barbecue spot. And it was a couple innings later where he's like,
well, he didn't realize.
I don't know if he realized it. Or if somebody told him in his ear.
I think somebody told him, actually.
What I think might have happened, since it was a couple innings later, I think social media was like, wait, what? Social media was like, did he just say what I? And people DVR it, people record, you know what I mean, whatever, they play it, and boom, here's a clip online now with him saying it. Like, this is what he said. If he knew he said it, there's no way this nigga tried to say it on purpose. Here's the thing, right? He definitely did not try to say it on purpose.
It didn't seem purposeful. I didn't get that vibe from him. It didn't seem like he did.
No, it would be the dumbest thing. It was the thing, like when people talk about transgender people going into bathrooms. It's like, bro, there's no way a transgender person would try to go to a bathroom and harass somebody. Just way too much. There's no fun at the end of that. People already got mad smoke for them existing, for transgender person to exist. People people think it's an abomination. It shouldn't even be a thing. And now this person is going to go harass and assault somebody in a restroom to even cause even more freaking fire and brimstone to come down upon them and their subgroup.
Yeah, logically that doesn't make sense.
There's no logic in that. It don't make sense. They don't happen. All these bathroom laws are fucking dumb. They don't solve anything. It's a solution looking for a problem, right? So this guy, he wasn't intentionally Like he has a job. He has a cushy ass job.
Yeah.
He's like, I can't just go out saying nigger. I would have been saying nigger. I would have
Mm.
been said if I knew I could just go out and do that in this position.
That's a fair point. Yeah.
He would have been done it, right? Even
Yeah.
if he is racist,
Mm.
right? He's watching out for his bag.
Yeah, he's not. Yeah, he wouldn't sacrifice.
He
his
wouldn't say
livelihood
that
on
on
that
the
word,
damn
yeah.
thing. And I'm not accusing him
No.
of being racist, even though he said the N word.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
and I'm, you know, but like he did say it, right? Now, there's all kinds of people that psychoanalyzing this nigga, talking about, oh, maybe he says this normally in his public, you know, what I mean, his private life, you know what I mean? And he's talking to his cohort, and they just letting N words fly, you know what I mean? And niggas is flying left and right. And so that's what I'm like. I just want to use this opportunity. I don't even really want to go into it because, like I said, I don't think he said it on purpose.
we ain't got to.
But he did say it. So saying stuff like that,
Mm.
it's going to be consequences.
Mm.
I want to bring this back to media training, motherfuckers. I've been told y'all.
Yeah.
This dude needs media training. You got to be able to code switch. Again, like you can't. Dude, like the basketball player, the Brooklyn kid, you know what I mean? He got suspended or not, you know what I mean? Well, he said no homo, he said pause or something like that.
He just said no homo and they suspended
no homo,
him.
they suspended him. You know what I mean? But we came to the conclusion that, bro, it's you're on TV.
Still media training.
These is the rules for this platform that you're on.
It's true. Yeah.
And so my dude, he's an announcer. You would think he had the most media training, but guess what? They can fuck up too.
Yeah.
And there's consequences for that shit. You know what I mean? And if anything, maybe he should be held to a higher standard because all he does is talk for a living. He's not a hooper. Yeah. He's not a ball player. He's not running bases.
Yeah.
He's not a shortstop. His primary job is to talk to motherfuckers all day.
I mean,
describe the game.
It doesn't make him fallible though. You know what I'm saying? Like he's.
I expect better.
No, I mean, well, okay. Let me rephrase. He is just being human. He is fallible. Yeah, it doesn't make him infallible, right? Because of his expertise.
Tony Kornheiser hasn't said the word. Hasn't said nigger on tape.
That's true. That's true.
Skip Bayless hasn't said nigger on tape, as far as I know.
That's true. And that's it right there, as far as we know.
On tape,
as far as we know.
Fine, but I don't know it, so it don't matter to me because I'm gonna assume he's probably said it in the private anyway. So
it's because it's also a thing of like just the confidence in the way that he said it was kind of like it came out so comfortably, like the way he said it is kind of like
I think he probably thought he was saying Negro. Yeah, I really thought he thought he said Negro.
And that's what I was gonna say. I was like, he probably actually thought in his head he said Negro, but not nigger, right? So it was kind of funny because I was like, dang, this is gonna look really bad for
and so in full transparency, right?
Yeah.
It don't always be racism, right?
Okay.
But a nigga is primed to see racism sometimes, right? There's this person.
That's kind of true.
There's this person at work. I don't know them, but I see their names in the email chain sometimes, right? And, you know, working with the government, there's a lot of white people. I work with a lot of white people.
Sure.
Right? I see this person's name on the email chain. I don't remember their first name, but their last name is spelled Negar. I'd be like, I wonder how they be pronouncing his name.
Oh my god! Oh my god!
I be like, these white people be sweating.
That's crazy.
They be under pressure. I know it. That nigga's name is spelled Negar. I was like, all right, Sam, go for it. Call him in the roll call. It's on you, buddy. Yo. I had A through M. You know what I mean? You gotta get N through Z.
They probably refer to him by his first name. They probably refer to him by his first name just to avoid that.
Everybody just calls him fucking Tony. You know what I mean? Just Tony. We're just gonna call him Tony. They see that bit. They're like, can I get? They be up there like this. Use it in a sentence. Then I'd be like, what is the origin?
Yeah, bro.
Okay, so this we told you that. Now go ahead, pronounce it. Go. Go.
I don't even think they'll put themselves even under that type of pressure. They're just gonna be like, you know what? Call him out his first name.
Be like, my internet's out. You know what? I
any
can't
other
hear you.
name?
My internet's going out. My internet's going out. It just end the call.
Bro, that's crazy.
No,
That's
so like,
crazy.
So I mean, like, so somebody just might be not used to the scenario and new to the squad, and he just comes up and sees the list and just reads it out loud for the first time, and as they're reading it, they're like, "No,
Yeah.
no, get back in there, no."
Yeah.
Just because the
Yeah.
possibility of, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
How would you pronounce that though, Jeff?
You said Neger, right?
Negar.
Negar.
Mm-hmm.
Yo.
How would you pronounce it, my guy? Huh?
Bro, I might have to try to pronounce that bit with an accent mark on top of the E.
Yeah. What the fuck? Dog, how? Oh, the G is silent. The G is silent. Nehar.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah, I might have to, bro.
No, it's a struggle. I know they be struggling seeing that joint.
Yeah, they got
dog.
it.
I know they be struggling seeing that joint. I'm just like, I wonder how these white people handle this.
Bro.
Like, and I know they thought about it. So
Yeah,
I know you're
facts.
thinking the N word,
Yeah.
nigga. I know y'all thinking
Yeah,
it. I know y'all be
absolutely.
thinking it. And I know, you know what I'm saying? It's like, it could be treacherous for them to fight. But anyway, get some fucking media training.
They might try to exaggerate the GAR. They might be like Negar.
Just put the fucking extra A. Nigga, how many A's is in this fool's name? And then that sounds like when they caught themselves in the middle of that, they'll be like, Negar. Right? Did I pronounce it correctly? Did I get that right?
They might try
to finesse that shit. No,
just to escape responsibility of pronouncing it that way. So.
It happens.
Yeah.
It happens. The fucking news media, man. These motherfuckers have failed us left and right.
Yeah.
And part of the reason we're able to part of the reason we're in the situation that we're in with the country being so divided is because of the fucking news media. The news media,
Yes.
as we know it, a lot of these, the national news, like I said before, Trump was right on this one. They are the enemy of the people. They are not there for the interests of the people. The national news, all the national news sources are there for profits. And that's it. Fox News admitted to it. Where they let the lies out. This is part of why they paid all that money to Dominion. Yeah. They admitted to it, that we did it for ratings. CNN. These motherfuckers. Oh my God.
I was trying to tell you about CNN.
No, man. I've been new about CNN.
Yeah.
They've always been disappointing, but they've always been fucking available. Everywhere you go,
that's the thing.
The fucking CNN is on.
Yeah. That's true. Yeah.
Even like on
America. It's a big America everywhere.
I've cut the cord as much as I can, and in that service, I can't get all the channels that I want in terms of news, and so the only national news I can get is CNN, right? And so I have to like actively go to other sources and YouTube and other kinds of services to try to get maybe some Fox News or some MSNBC or NPR and all these other things, right? So I use a plethora of sources. But man, CNN is just egregious. They're just as egregious as Fox. Fox might have said it out loud that they pushed a big lie for ratings, but CNN is not fooling anybody.
CNN is more insidious in how they do it, for sure.
They haven't admitted it on mic, but bro, you have a guy who is definitely going to be a criminal defendant for inciting a riot of people that committed January 6th. This is insurrection. A lot of people are getting charged with, and all of you that got charged for insurrection, they're part of their defense. They're saying that they did it because their leader told them to, told them to march up there and take a stand, take their government back, quote unquote.
Yeah.
And whatever dog whistles they were, they fucking ransacked the Capitol. They fucking defecated on the goddamn hallways. They were looking to hang Mike Pence. And Trump says he's going to pardon the majority of all these people, right? Because he's in solidarity with them. He sent them there. But CNN is not only gave a platform.
Well, we can't explicitly say that he sent them there, but we can make a.
He said, "Go down there, and I might go with you." He said, "Go down there."
But the way that you framed it, you made a definitive statement. So that's why I'm saying, like, yeah, we can definitely deduce that he was.
So yes, that would be why. That. But would he didn't
be
like
the point. Officially send him. That's what
that
I'm saying.
would be the point
for clarity. Yeah.
The prosecutor to prove.
Yes.
That he incited that.
He was
right.
a direct yes.
That he was a direct cause for people going down there and causing chaos.
Yes.
That would be for the prosecutor to prove. So allegedly he did this. I have enough evidence that if I'm on that jury, that he's the proximate cause to set these people off. If he's told everybody to just stay here and just talk about the rally and just told them to go home after that, they would have went home after that, or they would have walked around and meandered and went to bars and caused a ruckus at some bar or something like that, or just go to the site visit some museums or some shit. But he said, no, go over there and let them know that we ain't having that shit. that we need to. And it was all a fucking lie. It was all based on a big lie. So anyways, I'm not even trying to really unpack that specific point again. Sure. But he's got that. He's got the Georgia call. He's going to be indicted for that. He's already been indicted for the fucking Stormy Daniels joint. Yeah, right? He's and then he's found to be within the fucking the documents case. We talking about the documents, right? Then a jury of his peers finds him culpable for sexually assaulting E. Jean Carroll.
Yeah.
This is before the fucking town hall.
Yeah.
How dare you just give this guy a fucking platform again? Because last election, you said you learned your lesson, CNN. You said last time, every time y'all was talking about something, y'all could have been talking about the Muppet Babies. Y'all could have been talking about freaking car sales or the economy. And I was like, oh shit, Trump is talking? You automatically go live to a Trump rally somewhere in fuck nowhere, right? With freaking 1,500 people there, right? And just carry it wire to wire. Free advertising, just making it more palpable for the American consumer who's ever consuming this news. Just be like, oh, they're used to seeing Trump talking on TV. Every time they turn the channel on CNN, you're jumping with, to hang on every single word they say. And sometimes you have people that say, he's saying some ridiculous things. Can you believe this? How he's saying these ridiculous things? Oh, wait, he's talking again? Okay, yeah, let's go back. So you say you learned your lesson from doing that last time. And now you gave him an exclusive fucking platform, a town hall, that the execution of which was so fucking shameful. So fucking terrible. These niggas put Trump supporters in a town hall. They didn't even try to make the audience like diverse or both sides or anything. It was he made fun of the lady he was just found liable for sexually assaulting. And the audience laughed. The audience laughed. Like, even if you didn't think he did it, for him to like use that as like a punchline, it's like, oh, that's distasteful though. You listen to a deposition when he's saying it's been done for a million years. You could just grab women by the pussy. The ladies asked the was it Caitlin Collins? Who did the interview?
Yeah. Let me.
And so she's asking, she's like, yo, you said this whole freaking Hollywood unlocked video thing. You they brought it back up and they said, and you agreed that when you're a celebrity, you can grab women by the pussy. Then Trump goes, hey, it's unfortunate, fortunately or unfortunately, it's for millions of years that if you're a celebrity, if you're a famous person, they let you do it. And so they're like, are you a celebrity? He's like, yeah, you could call me that. Bro, you just ipso facto.
Caitlin Collins, yeah, you're right, Caitlin Collins, yeah.
You just basically said you would do this.
Yes.
That you do this, that they let you do because you're a celebrity and you agreed to being a celebrity.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the follow-up question. You just, yeah, you can call me a celebrity. Bro, this is the person that you gave a platform to, you took serious. You put on a suit and tie to go talk to this fucking monster. This guy, and then he gets fucking applauds. He gets lauded by the audience.
Yeah, he's in a room full of,
and it's not even just his audience. It's tens of millions of Americans that are waiting to give him another shot at the presidency, despite all the failures. I'm telling you, I would put 400K lives on his hands alone. I would, if I'm being. But the conservative number is at least 100K. Is directly the conservative direct. I will put it up to 400. But the conservative number is 100,000. This dude is fucking genocidal. The level of damage that he's done to society, and the stochastic terrorism that he foments, and you're giving him a platform. CNN is the height of irresponsibility for you to do that, and they did it for the ratings. They're just doing it for the ratings.
Yeah.
They're leading now because Tucker Carlson got fired.
Yeah, exactly.
So they're leading in ratings now. They're just doing it for ratings. They're trying to lean more right wing. And it's okay for you to do that to diversify, your coverage and the voices that you have on.
And obviously seeing
but,
Fox
but the MAGA party is just all lies.
Yeah.
They're not a legitimate fucking
toxic
place for you to cover.
Yeah, it's a cancer. The MAGA party is absolutely a cancer, but it's one that's it's not going away for a while.
And CNN just freaking lean right into it.
It's so obvious that was CNN's reason for doing it. Like, it's like if seeking profits wasn't something that you were familiar with or couldn't see, this is like exhibit A illustration of that for sure. Like, there's no reason that you would even entertain that. And not only that, like you mentioned, to also to set up a situation where it's predominantly Trump supporters and it's not a diverse crowd. That's wild.
Yeah. And of course, I mean, Caitlin tried to push back.
Of course,
barely.
Yeah, tried to.
You know what I mean? But like your situation, you put her you put her in an untenable position. He even called her nasty. Like, oh, what a nasty, because she has to follow up. She has to follow up. He called her nasty on stage, and the audience laughed at that.
Yeah, sure.
He has a history of bullying women, right? And an opinion piece here in the Guardian, which wraps up my sentiments on the matter. Dear CNN, giving Trump a town hall platform is the height of irresponsibility, right? No more town halls, interviews, or rallies. Coverage should be driven by clear editorial choices that serve U.S. democracy, right? We talked about it a while ago that it's only one party that is specifically making preservation of democracy a tenet and a platform and something to freaking like fight for, when there's another party that is strategically over and over and over just decreasing the foundation and knocking out pillars of what democracy. They're very distinct. Both are not the same. With 18 months to go before the next U.S. presidential election, it's already clear that barring a physical collapse or two, Joe Biden will represent the Democrats and Donald Trump will represent the Republicans, right? This will be the first presidential election after one of the candidates the president at the time tried to foment a violent insurrection to overturn the last election. First time that's ever happened, right? Fucking history making. It would be the first election since 1912 in which a former president, in that case it was Theodore Roosevelt, challenges a sitting president. In that case, it was William Taft. It would be the first election in American history in which one candidate has already been impeached. Twice, in fact.
Twice, yeah.
It would be the first in which one candidate has been successfully sued for defamation and sexual assault. It would be the first election since 1800 in which one of the major candidates can reasonably be called a threat to or disloyal to the United States. Aaron Burr in 1800 was the first, right?
Mhm.
And Burr had not yet revealed his propensity for treachery in 1800. Trump already has shown us,
Yeah.
all right, before the 2024 election.
Yeah,
It
we
would
know
be
who
the
he is.
first election in which one of the candidates has been indicted on state criminal charges and possibly federal charges by the time of the election. So he's been the E.G. Carrington thing. He's lost that. He's already indicted in New York. He got arrested.
Mhm.
Oh, how is this nigga getting TV time? How is this nigga still being taken seriously by anybody?
Power and leverage, man. That's all. That's what it says. To
We
me,
are
like, this guy-
all not the same.
Yeah.
In other words, it would be a weird election in every way. Yet,
Yeah.
despite staring at a growing, violent, nativist, fascist-like movement that doggedly supports Trump, the mainstream American news media seems poised to treat both candidates as if they are just viable, reasonable representatives of the traditions of the political parties that they have grown to symbolize.
Mhm.
It's as if they have learned nothing. Fucking CNN, you've learned nothing. To give him you've learned fucking nothing.
I think one thing I will say that they've learned, they've learned a thing or two about getting more ratings, man. They learned a thing or two about seeing.
They
an
know how to
opportunity.
strike when the iron is hot.
Yeah, they know how to do that though.
Because that boy,
Sure.
that boy, what you call it, got fired.
Mm-hmm.
So they just trying to put everything on. Even granted, it was scheduled before Tucker got fired, but like the freaking E. Jean Carroll verdict ain't come out yet, and y'all know that now though. And y'all still went ahead with the fucking bullshit. There was another article here. Could you find it? It was talking about like the 8 takeaways. There was some like takeaways.
Yeah, I just had it up here.
All right, what do they got there? What was the main for those who didn't watch? Because I wasn't watching that shit.
Mm-hmm. So there were like 8 takeaways from the town hall, because I definitely didn't watch it myself. I wouldn't even waste my time there. So 8 takeaways. Trump makes dismissive comments about Carol. Bro just explained everything about her.
Yeah.
Trump says GOP should be willing to blow up debt ceiling. And he said something like, if they don't give you massive cuts, he said you're going to have to do a default. That's basically his answer to that.
The Republicans never give a fuck about the damn debt ceiling when they're in power. As soon as Democrats are in the office, they suddenly now want a fucking debt and deficit and everything. But what else they got?
Trump is vague on federal abortion ban. So when he was questioned on federal abortion ban, he kind of was dodging around the question.
Waffled on that. Like, they want to. They can try to make the election about abortion again. Every time they've done it.
Yeah,
liberals have come out.
And that's likely what they're gonna try to do.
Yeah.
He did obviously mention his support for the overturning of Roe v. Wade. So take it or leave it, depending on how you feel about it, depending on your position. But that's essentially kind of like what his answer was. He just kind of went to that. He deflected to that he was happy about overturning that, and and dealing with that down the road, or conversations about that down the road. The next one would be Trump doesn't say if he would back Ukraine in war with Russia. Now this one is crazy, right? This one is wild because it's like are we surprised? Maybe. Are we surprised? No, but at the same time, it's like it's also telling of like, bro, like we kind of knew that you were like connected there in Russia, but like you not saying that you would back Ukraine, and like
They're fighting
That's-
for democracy
and they're right,
in
exactly.
Ukraine.
So we
And
kind of know how you're
that
gonna move,
party
like if you were in that position.
is not a fan of democracy. They
Bro.
they use that word. They just throw it around,
capitalists
freedom
first.
and all
That's
that
what I
kind
would
of
say.
stuff. They
Yeah.
don't really believe in democracy. They don't. We had an open and free election here, and
Mhm.
they doubting that the result was the result. Like it's been freaking 3 years.
Yeah. I would say that with these types of Republicans, because I do believe that they are actually good. They're actually upstanding Republicans who are like true to the conservative cause and actually
They
have
don't.
that
They don't
belief.
own that party no
But
more though.
and that's the problem. They don't own that party anymore. So everything that these MAGA supporters are doing is basically overshadowing any kind of good effort they may be trying to do. So so it's unfortunate, but that is the case. They are not like they're not in control anymore. So it's a whole Dookie storm over there at the Conservative Party. The next point would be Trump says he pardoned January 6 rioters, which is what you mentioned before. That's already crazy. So we won't even have to explain that further. That's just you just being wild there. Trump suggests family separation immigration policy could return, which is also another thing, right?
That we did not look good doing that.
Yeah,
these babies and there's kids now, still now, that have not been matched up with their parents.
Yep, by themselves.
Literally
by themselves. Yeah,
still haven't matched up. And it was something. I think last time I saw the number was something like 1,500 kids. They don't have anything They don't have anything to be able to match these kids up to their parents. Either the kid was not speaking yet and not the age to be speaking at the time when they were separated, so doesn't necessarily know mom's name or dad's name or his own first or last name. Did not have any ID on them or any kind of freaking like like you collar like you put on your dog or something like that. What the thing? The kids ain't gonna have all that.
Yeah, they're not gonna have that. Yeah, they're not gonna have all
you know what I mean? And so there's 1,500 kids. I think something that was the number. Somebody can fact check that, but it was some wild crazy. Like, so now you're gonna bring that back. You're gonna bring that policy back. You're gonna specifically because cruelty is the point. It's not fixing immigration. It's not anti freaking migrant worker. No, the point is cruelty.
I think it's more.
Whatever we can do to be cruel is what that party is all about. They don't care about people.
I think that's a proponent of it, but I will say I think the larger goal that I think they seek to achieve, like these types of Republicans, is control. I think it all stems from control. They want control on every level, federal to local.
This is what they're doing. They're trying to do with women in all these states. Some states are trying to make it when women can't even travel out the state to go seek an abortion if they need to. Like, just say it. You just want to control women. That's it. You just, you know what I mean? You think that they're all girls. First of all, you would still be spanking them if this was the 1940s and 50s where they used to spank their wives. You know what I mean? And like put them over the 80 and spank their wife. You would still want to do that. I thought I saw something on the fucking thing trending the other day. It was saying, arguing the efficacy of spanking your wife.
What? That's yo.
These niggas is out here still trying.
I don't even want to go down that rabbit hole. I ain't going.
These niggas out here still trying. They want women.
That's wild.
Women is is technically so part of like before they had laws and stuff on the books where the whole no fault divorce kind of things, right? Where you could like the women.
Texas, that's big in Texas,
right? And so women couldn't like file for divorce if they didn't specifically have a cause like abuse or adultery or something. If they didn't have, they could prove that case, you could not get divorced from your husband. And part of the reason all that stuff was because she's your property. She was pretty much your property. That's part of the reason why these laws were in place, and where you had to actually go, the husband had to be with you to open up a bank account, right? They do this in some countries. They don't even let women drive by themselves. Don't let them leave the house.
Yeah, aware of that. Yeah,
you know what I mean. Leave the house without a male companion, even if it's their nephew, who's a 13-year-old, and they're a grown ass freaking 35-year-old, 40-year-old. They have to have this male person with them. a 14-year-old has supremacy over them, has superiority over them.
I think it's
This is the country that
So-
they actually really want, and
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
not
so-
a democracy.
like as far as other countries who practice some of these things, I think that's more of a cultural thing. So they obviously their viewpoint and their perspective is going to be different. They don't look at it as control. They're looking at it as
Bro,
like,
the
this is how our
right wing
family
death
structure-
squad shit we talked about was a different country. They find things that they perceive that
Yeah,
they
sure.
they like, they wish they
Sure.
could do. This is why Trump is such a fan of Erdogan and Putin and shit like that, because they're strong
Yeah.
men.
I mean, yeah, because
But
I mean,
that's
there's
not how democracy works, though.
yeah, there's obviously like toxic versions of those things, right? Like obviously, like there's extremists. There's like I know people who are Muslim and they're like the most peaceful people that you could ever meet. Like there's obviously like a toxic version of that, right? Like
Of,
the
of,
radicalization
of,
truth
yeah,
and all that.
of
But
everyone.
yeah, so I'm saying that, but that's everywhere in the world is what I'm saying. Like that's like there's always gonna be a toxic version of that. So I get that. But it does say, but to your point though, it does say a lot about Trump, based on the guys that he praised. It does say a lot about like his mentality and what he seeks to try to, what he's seeking to try to establish here. So you're right about that. You're right about that point in particular. So the last two things would be, and I'm just gonna rattle both of these off. Trump repeats election fraud lies, which is what we talked about a little bit when we talked about the whole Dominion suit. And also Trump does his whole name calling thing, where he's calling people different names and stuff like that during the, his thing that he does that he tried to create or whatever. Calling people, calling Nancy Pelosi a crazy woman. Ron DeSantis,
calling the damn
host. The sanctimonious. I kind of like that one. The sanctimonious.
I ain't really like the sanctimonious. I like the meatball one. I like the one where you just call it meatball.
Yeah, meatball was funny. Yeah, meatball was
because that fool kind of do like a meatball.
He does like
you know what I mean, like in a suit.
He does. He does.
Meatball in a suit. He kind of do like that. You know what I mean? I'm not trying to fat shame him, but he kind of just resembles a meatball.
Yeah, he
and his brain.
He's a
fucking meatball brain person, anyways, too.
So those were the 8 quick points there. Like as far as takeaways from that town hall.
So lesson learned here. Well, at least we're put on notice. Everybody, we're put on notice. Mm-hmm. Trump hasn't changed a bit. Everything in that whole town hall was him. And he was unfiltered. It was like, oh, did he become presidential? Did he rise to the moment? Or is he trying to maybe turn a new leaf? Like, no. So if you didn't see the town hall, it's the same old Trump. And CNN is on the same old shit, platforming this fool.
Yeah, sure. I mean, one thing I think that he probably saw it also as like an opportunity to really be salacious because of his feelings towards CNN. So it probably was. I think part of it was.
It was good for him. It was good for him.
It's good for him. Yeah,
because they got the ratings because Sucker's gone and they got Trump. They got like an excuse. They're going to get a bunch of people tune in just for that, right?
Yeah, sure.
Plus, they get the coverage because they themselves become the news now.
Yes.
Because a lot of these articles are being written about CNN and why CNN are fucking up. Why shouldn't they do this? What do they do good? What do they do bad? Most of it was all bad. But they become part of the news. So that gives them more traction, more eyeballs, right? But for Trump, he gets a national stage.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of places that are looking to book him. You know what I mean? Like there are national platforms like that. MSNBC ain't gonna do it. And Fox just coming out this lawsuit. They're not trying to like have him come on their airways and say some bullshit again, and so that they could go get fucking thumped upside the head. And they're gonna sit there and Fox may try to fact check them, and then if they do that on air, that's gonna piss off the Trump voters to even to get away even further from Fox. A lot of them have dropped off ever since Tucker Carlson left.
Sure, of course.
They're gonna be dropping even more. So they don't want to have any kind of beef with Trump if they don't have. So the one place that are gonna give them a national platform like this, fucking CNN, of course. And they failed us. They will continue to fail us. Don't look to them for proper coverage of what the things are that you need to care about in your actual life. They just care about sensationalism. They just want to make bread. Fox News was found out. CNN hasn't said it explicitly, but we know what time it is.
Yeah.
We know what time they're on.
Yep.
And again, Trump hasn't changed a lick. So those are gonna be your options. It's gonna be Biden versus Trump.
Very likely.
Them's your options. Choose wisely.
All right, so let's get into the vibes. What you got going on, bro?
It's been an actual soulful vibes for me
Okay.
this time around, right?
Okay, I'm feeling that.
So first up is Duran Jones, right? And the Indications. So the band is called The Indications, you know what I mean? And so, but the album, I don't even know if they're really on the album, his full band, but it's just called the album is just called Wait Till I Get Over, and it just says Duran
when
Jones.
you say a band, you're not talking about a boy band, right? You're talking about like a legitimate band.
Yeah, like a jibba, like the way the Roots is, you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Okay.
Or with Black Thought, you know, with the Roots, you know, you talking about the Roots is, you know, is what so like, or Gladys Knight and the Pips, you know what I mean, or something like that. So
Yeah.
it's like that, and so, or even Bruno Mars has his band. I don't what's the name of his guys?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I didn't know he had a name for his
Yeah,
band. Though. I
there's
thought
a
it was
band.
just
I
his
forgot
band.
they have a name, but either way, the Indications is what Duran Jones's band is called, and so he's the I guess you would call the front man for the band, and you're listening to it, and man, it's so soulful. There's this thing that he's doing that apparently it's a thing. I didn't know this was the thing that was going on. They have I don't know if it's collective, but there are artists that are soul revivalists as sort of an identity, where it's like they want to make music like that sort of style from back then, but they want to make new music in that same style.
The same style, okay.
You know what I mean? So it's like somebody making a new classical music song, you know, classical song, you know, writing a new, like, it's that style from back then, some Baroque era, but they're going to write a new Baroque music sheet or something, whatever what they call that, right? And so
I'm not gonna lie. When you said Baroque, I initially thought you were actually saying Baroque. Like, I was like,
broke ass classical shit.
Why is he emphasizing the Baroque part?
That
so much?
Baroque classic shit ain't got no bam to it.
Kind of like,
but it got no 808.
Kind of like in Family Guy, when like
Are you saying whip? You saying whip?
Whip? Why so much emphasis on H?
What's with that? No, but I said Baroque. But either way, so like you know, the soul music from back in the day, you know, and so like they want to make songs that are okay. So what we had happen maybe early 2000s, you know, it was like a new onset sound of neo soul, right? Yeah, you had your neo soul music, and so who's neo soul would
like
be
Jill Scott.
Yeah, Jill Scott, your D'Angelo's, Music Soul Child. You know, this was neo soul. So it was like it was still it's soul
Hamilton.
music. Yeah, exactly. But this was soulful music, but it's a new wave, the way the rhyme scheme maybe, you know, the musical notes and tones that are used, you know, the type of verbiage that's being, bro, this shit sounds, some of these tracks on this album sound like fucking revolutionary stuff, like on the plantation, singing along, trying to like map out the fucking stars on how we gonna escape kind of songs,
like Negro spiritual kind
of spiritual kind type of shit. That's what he's coming with some of these tracks, and so by them making the distinction of it being retro soul, so having the being fashioned after that sound from back then, it could even be probably on vinyl with some cracks on there maybe when they release it. It makes it even more emphasized that it sounds like revolutionary kind of like type of music. It could be like, damn, this could have been from back then, you know, as that. So I appreciate that somebody's trying to keep that genre alive. But side note, coming from an atheist, I do want to acknowledge that the church has definitely been instrumental in Black liberation.
Yep.
It's done
Yeah.
a lot of damage. I spoke about that the other time before a while ago about how you know, some slaves got it beat into their head, you know, that obey your master shit.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
some slaves early on
Mhm.
did not have those. They had African traditions. They had African deity that they acknowledged, that they worshipped. They lost all that. They got beat out of them, and they got a Christian God. You know, so and then that got passed on to their kids and their kids and their kids and on and on.
Mhm.
So there's a lot of, but in terms of the church as a community, um, we have a lot of these artists that, you know, especially during that era, you know, this the original soul era, um, they started off in the church.
Yeah. A lot of them came from the church. Yeah.
This is how we got, you know, folks like James Brown, you know, and
Michael Jackson, Whitney
Ella
Houston.
Fitzgerald, you know, all these
Fred.
people, like they
Yeah.
started off in the church and
Yeah.
they were singing in the church,
Yeah.
and now you have the neo soul singers that you, well, not now, but that genre of folks that they you know, they weren't the start of it, but they completely went secular to
Mhm.
sell. You know what I mean? To sell records, they completely went secular to sell the
Yeah.
records. But all of that is, man, the church was like the start and like the breeding ground for Black liberation, Black excellence, and like these people were together like teaching people to read and skills training and all stuff, and as
Mhm.
a place to unite and come together and like strategize. It was
Church is a
all
community for sure. It is a community.
it was all there.
Yeah.
And for the sound of what we listen to with soul music,
Hmm.
it came from the church. It's
Yep.
literally
A lot of it.
some
Yeah.
sounds like it sounds like gospel.
Hmm.
Even if they were talking about drinking liquor and like freaking partying on a Saturday night down by in the bayou or some shit,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know. But it's like you took church sounds, you know, and like you made it secular, and then the
Yeah.
evolution came to where we have, you know, the Kelly Rowlands and, you know, the Erica Badu's and all. So that's pretty
Yeah.
much not church music
Yeah.
anymore. Like that with
Mhm.
Neil. So, but like these guys, this guy Duran Jones is retro soul. So I have never heard of the genre before, but he's and there's other cats like him too that are making music like that. I know. I think the band I think it might be Stephen Colbert's band.
Mm.
Is it John Baptista? I think John Baptista. He's making kind of music like that of that ilk. I don't know if
Okay.
that's. I don't remember whose show he's on, but
Yeah.
or is it John Baptiste? John Baptiste, I think it is. What up, fam? It's Darwin, the guy that was just talking. First off, thanks for watching and supporting the show. But I got to give y'all some homework. Your challenge, if you choose to accept it, is to interact with the show. That means one, hitting that like button because I know you like our stuff. Two, make sure you subscribe so we can swim our way up your timeline whenever we drop new content. The third thing, please share the channel with your friends. Maybe they'll learn a thing about a thing or two. Oh, last thing, we're over here talking about what y'all talking about. So go ahead and carry that conversation on into the comments. We be up in there too. Baby Rose, again, because it's been a soulful, it's been a it's been a soulful weekend for your boy. Days her real name is Jasmine Wilson, right? Middle name Rose, and you know,
Hmm.
she just goes by Baby Rose.
Hmm.
She's from the DC area, right? And she's independent artist, but she does have a distribution deal, which is pretty much all you kind of need these days. You could create music
Yeah. Pretty
yourself.
much.
You
Yeah.
just need that. You need somebody that had the plug to be able to distribute your shit.
Yeah.
Um, she's from the DC area.
Hmm.
Um, and man, she's dude, we talk. She's an old soul.
Mm.
She's an old soul, and her songs are they're brilliant. They're full of character. They she sounds like, I mean, maybe it might be, maybe her stuff might be a little bit more neo soul than retro soul that we just
Hmm.
learned.
Hmm.
But um it, soul music is soul music, yeah, and so she's got an off. Her tone is like a little off kilter,
Mhm.
a little bit, but it's sort of the way that like is endearing, the way like Mary J. Blige's voice is endearing. You know what I mean?
Okay.
You
Okay.
wouldn't say she's a singer like that. You
Mhm.
don't say she be singing,
Yeah,
but you
maybe.
know what I
Yeah,
mean? But like you
but she
like
has a
her music.
sound.
She has a
Yeah,
sound that
she
you
has a
kind of like,
sound
and
that.
so
Yeah.
that's the thing I'm getting with Baby Rose. The production is great. She has great the artistry of like weaving together the beginning, middle, and end of a song. You know, she does it masterfully, and it's good. It's dope to know that an independent artist can do that without the backing of all the engineers and all the people doing all the mixing. So she owns her
Mhm.
masters
Mhm.
by being independent like that. And these are
Yep.
some good songs to own
Them
the
businesses.
rights over for that. They're gonna be they're gonna go the distance.
Yeah.
A little bit more about her career though. After the release of her mixtape back in 2017, Dust Till Dawn, she gained attention by being co-signed by artists like SZA, Kalani, J. Cole. In
Mm.
2019, she had
That's some big
projects
names.
with uh, Big Crit, and Dreamville on Dreamville's album. I already fuck with Dreamville. We talked about them
Yeah.
last time.
Yeah.
And so she has some collabos with them on there.
Dreamville is dope. Yeah.
She went on the Shea Butter tour with Ari Lennox, and
Okay.
the debut album was in 2019. But
Uh-huh.
she's another person that was had a song on Insecure.
Yeah.
So whoever the music talent
Man.
scout is out there in Insecure, I mean, they
Yeah.
really hit us with some bangers and some people to look out for
Yeah.
when the
Apparently.
show's going on. So you could shoot. There should probably be a compilation of all like those.
Yeah. I was wondering. I mean, it has like a soundtrack, doesn't it?
They have
So you
soundtracks
so you can
sometimes.
kind of go.
Actually, TV shows don't usually have soundtracks. Movies do. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Movies typically do.
But
Yeah.
it do be songs that's released on a TV show that
Mm-hmm.
you can go listen to the single. But it'll be that. It'll just be that one
It'll just be a
song.
single.
It
Yeah.
wouldn't be like a soundtrack of like all the songs that they played in a particular episode. But
Mm-hmm.
you can go like and the thing for Insecure is like it's always at the end of the show. Like they might be playing songs throughout, but like there's a featured song at the end. They go off, the freaking lights turn off, and the
Yeah.
credits roll to a particular song
The song. Yeah.
that some talent scout, some music scout identified somewhere and put it that fits whatever vibe that was going on at the ending scene of that last episode. So
Yep.
man, somebody could go and make a compilation of all of those those end episode credit songs. I
Mm.
think you'd have a pretty dope album. And Secure could
Solid.
be up for a nomination for something.
Mm.
By putting that compilation together. I mean, if somebody like Robert Glasper, he does the compilation of people kind of thing, or even somebody like who did this back in the day, Carlos Santana. I mean, he does a compilation kind of. He plays guitar throughout, but
Yep.
he has a bunch of different artists come in and do like a compilation, and he could win
Mm.
some. It'll be nominated for album of the year and stuff. So I think Insecure could do something like that. So that's pretty dope if they do that.
Kind of sound like. I mean, because the past couple of artists that you mentioned had a song on
It
Insecure.
went it
Yeah.
went through. Maybe Insecure could also be like almost like a kingmaker kind of thing. Like if you
Mm.
did, what I mean,
Mm.
if you like back in the day, if you
That's a
did
fair point.
one of these late shows that it was almost like a kingmaker. Like if you for example, if you went to if you used to be on the Daily Show, with Jon
Mm.
Stewart, if you
Yeah.
went through the Daily Show,
That's
what I
true.
mean, you're probably 5 years from now, 5 years
Yep.
from then, you can see them. They probably have great careers going in TV somewhere, in movies now, or they have their own show that they're hosting or something like that through the Daily Show. It's a kingmaker type of
Yeah.
platform.
The show that's like that now, a late night show that's like that now is Jimmy Fallon. You get on Jimmy
Jimmy
Fallon.
Fallon,
Yeah.
particularly if you're a comedian, for example, right? If you get to
Yeah.
go
Yeah.
do a good 5 minutes on one of these late night shows, you can get a Netflix special out of that bitch
Sure.
eventually,
Sure. Yeah.
for sure. So yeah, that's what's up, man. So what's that? What I said the name of the album? I didn't even say the name of the album.
Yeah. I
So
don't think you said the name of the album.
yeah, so for
Baby Rose.
Baby Rose, it's called
Yeah.
Through and Through. And she is sounding like I said, like an old soul. She gives me some Ella Fitzgerald vibes, and
Okay.
so if you miss those kinds of notes and those kinds of tones, and it's all there in those two albums. And then I did, and it made for a perfect playlist because I put both those albums together, and I hit shuffle.
You just rock out to that, yeah.
I hit shuffle and I just rock out to that bit.
Damson Idris's performance, like, it's Oscar worthy. Like, well,
It's not Oscar, it's an Emmy. It would be Emmy.
Well, actually, it would be for TV, because it's a TV series. It would be Golden Globe. It would be Golden Globe is what it would be.
An Emmy.
So, is it Emmy or Golden Globe?
Well, I mean, I think Emmy would, like, we talking about EGOT.
It's an academy. It's an academy. Because I looked this up.
No, but remember, listen to me. Remember last time we talked about Jimmy Fox deserves an EGOT. Remember that was in the vibes. The E in EGOT is Emmy.
Okay.
Yeah.
He's Grammy, but that's for music. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's what an EGOT is. The specific thing about becoming an EGOT.
EGOT is okay. So the G is Grammy. Okay.
G is Grammy.
Okay. Before a TV series is Golden Globe.
It'll be the Emmy. But it's, yes, the okay. Let me take a step back and say this. There are multiple agencies and organizations that give out awards. For example, the MTV Music Awards, or the MTV Video Awards, or the People's Choice Award, right? Or the Rolling Stone Award, right? Or BET Award, BET Hip Hop Award.
Yes.
Rolling Stone, so there's these different awarding agencies, but of the most prestigious, right? It's why they created this whole term called EGOT. And even artists and actors and everything, all of them are into this notion. It's almost like winning a Nobel Prize. You know what I mean? Like, know, it's a thing. The Nobel is like that established, that's a coveted kind of distinct, what do you call it? Not destination, being distinguished.
Distinction, right?
Distinction, right?
Yeah.
Distinction. So the EGOT, so they trying to get an EGOT, right? This is what, if you're an actor, your goal is inevitably get an EGOT. Well, not if you're an entertainer. So this is why I'm like Jamie Foxx. Matter of fact, I think John Legend has an EGOT. You know, John Legend I think has an EGOT.
Okay.
Viola Davis, I'm pretty sure, yeah, she's got an EGOT.
Yeah.
And so the TV representation part of the EGOT would be the Emmys. So maybe he could win a Golden Globe. That'd be great. But that ain't gonna help him.
Because I'm seeing Golden Globe when I Googled it. But I see what you're saying. But when I Googled it, I'm seeing Golden Globes here. But I'm also seeing Emmy, and I'm also seeing a bunch of these different things too.
Well, what you saying? What is you look up?
So I put awards for best TV series, and I'm seeing.
No. Well, so we're talking past each other. Because I'm not disputing what you're saying. Yes, there are different organizations that give awards for television series.
Yes.
When we're talking about the EGOT status,
but the most prestigious one is EGOT. Is what you're saying?
Would be the EGOT. So
I got you.
E would be an Emmy.
Would be the Emmy. So that's what
And the G would be a Grammy. So Kanye won a Grammy. You know, Beyonce's won Grammys.
Okay, that's a good way of explaining it. Actually, I didn't think of. I mean, I knew that there were a lot of different different organizations that give awards.
But these are the big four that people trying to
big
like.
Four. Okay, big four is EGOT. Okay.
Yeah, because
I thought some of these were like interchangeable names, but I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
I see what you're saying. So I was saying
you could Google EGOT winners.
Yeah.
Or EGOT. They're not even winners because there's no like specific ceremony for the EGOT. But it's like it's like being knighted by the queen, almost. You know what I mean, or the king. You know, just like you've achieved this level, unlocked. You know what I mean, like on Xbox or something like that. You ended up with the Emmy, the Grammy, the Oscar, and the Tony. You're considered one of the greatest entertainers of all time.
Yeah. No, okay. No, I mean that's understandable. Like based on how you explained it, okay, that makes sense. So there's
fucking Nickelodeon awards.
Yeah,
right. You know what I mean?
But there were like some discussion that he should be nominated for like best performance of like one of the best
maybe
even an Emmy. Yeah.
It would be an Emmy.
Talk like his performance was just, and it was. I'm gonna say it was phenomenal. I ain't gonna lie. From top to bottom, from the start of the show to the end of it.
I don't know. Season one, acting. I liked season one. I liked it. I liked it.
I'm telling you.
But it took some convince. He had to convince me
Mhm.
for quite a few episodes.
Yeah,
They're like,
I hear
okay,
that.
Franklin Saint. Okay, boom.
Yeah.
I could take Franklin Saint serious.
Mm.
Like for the first half of that first season, like I was like, this nigga.
Yeah,
It's like
bro,
I'm supposed to say it's like this nigga.
but season 6, he took it to a whole nother level. I'm just gonna say that.
That's dope. That's dope.
I'm gonna say that. So it's like,
because it's like the thing. Because the thing is like Breaking Bad.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Bryan Cranston.
Mhm.
He was fucking Malcolm in the Middle's dad.
Yeah, yeah. So it took some convincing.
So he took some convincing. I'm like, yo, this
Yeah.
is when he's gonna say something funny, or when he's gonna say something a dad joke or something like that.
Yeah.
Like, no, he ended up becoming Walter White over time. We had to he had to develop that trust. So, it's all development, and that's part of actually getting these awards. It's like the judges are like, this person really developed this character.
Yes.
So when like you look at this character, and this character has like a full fleshed out story, and it was the actor that was actually showing that level, that stage of that character's development, and then the next stage, and then the other stage, and you're thinking like, oh, is this person just getting better at acting over time? Yeah, they're getting more and more comfortable with the role, but part of the reason to have the continuity to see the growth is because they actually were doing a good job at acting at the start.
Yeah, in the first place.
Yeah, they learned the role a little bit better itself,
yeah.
and they get more into the bag. But like, they had to establish that at the front. They couldn't just throw out crap and then build off of that and have this amazing character in season 6. You know what I mean? No, this person has shown the growth, just like Bryan Cranston and Idris is in this one as well.
Yeah,
and Snowfall.
Yeah, and that's a good point. It is a culmination of what he was able to basically develop as a character, as you mentioned, and really kind of gather everything that he learned through those seasons to really give us the product that he gave us in season 6. And I would say the show ended very, very strongly. I mean, very strongly. This guy's performance was amazing. And the writers are excellent too. Like it's
So shout out to the writers. They're still on strike. Right now, but this is the type of thing that you're saying that this is why we need the writers in the room. Because it makes a performance like that. And so that that's so that's part of the vibes. And I haven't watched it yet, so I'm going to look forward to watching that. If you watched it, if you have a take on how the show ended or whatever, leave it in the comments, and I'll catch up with you, and put it in the comments as well. But I'm looking forward to checking that out. Amongst the the other shows that I have a whole list of shit that I gotta.
There's a lot of shows
catch up on. Freaking video games have been taking up my other leisure time, but them survive. All right, bro. So that's it. We covered a lot today. We freaking keep an eye on a swivel. These fucking zombie hunters out there. All right, zombies might mean something different to them. We found out RWDS. Right wing death squad. These motherfuckers is incognito around this bitch. I was just incognito.
I see what you're
doing. They ain't part. They ain't on the same squad, bro. They the opposition right there. The TV show. Snowfall. Season came to an end, and
this is different. Sure,
it hit different. We covered also trying to make black friends, male friends. I was on the thing today, man. We covered a lot, and then fucking CNN letting everybody down, and apparently even CNN, just like dude from the Oakland days, need media training. They all need media training, and that's it. So. We did it. Mission accomplished.
All right. Stay safe, y'all.
Stay dangerous.
It's challenge day.